STIHL Timbersports. Good that the fans can be back, and we look forward to compete. Yes, for sure.
Their applause and cheering makes you want to go harder, and yeah, it makes for a better race.
Terrific to have the roar of the crowd in the background, so it should be great.
Welcome, 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 welcome to the STIHL Timbersports World Trophy 2022. Coming to you live here from the magnificent Rathausplatz in beautiful Vienna, Austria. My name is Matt Beadle, and it is an absolute honor to be your host here today. And we are smack bang in the middle of an absolute humdinger of a weekend with regards to timber sports. We've already seen Martha King take home the International Women's Cup, closely followed by Jack Argent, who picked up a world record on the way to becoming the world rookie champion. And then this afternoon we had Lukas Wagenreiter become the Austrian rookie champion. But this evening it's all about the pros. We have got the best of the best, 15 athletes from 12 countries competing in 4 rounds, but there can only be one World Trophy winner. And speaking of winners, may I introduce...
I'm getting upgraded every day.
My co-coms here. Some call him the oracle of all things STIHL Timbersports. He is the statesman, Troy Mannering. It's a pleasure to be working with you again,
Thank you so much, Matt. What an intro. My goodness, how do I top that or live up to that? Unbelievable. Yes, the trophy format. That's what we're here to see today. It is by far my favorite format in timber sports, and it is, as you said, a humdinger. You are going to witness a true test of mettle for these timber sports athletes today.
Beautiful. Thank you for having you, Troy. Looking forward to working together. We are not alone, though. There is a third commentator. He is down in the arena, and hopefully you can see him there waiting for us, surrounded by thousands of fans. He's going to be doing interviews and things like that. Florty, it's lovely to see you. What's the energy like there down in the arena at the moment?
Well, it's lovely to see you guys as well. You can see me smiling. I mean, look at this crowd. Listen to this atmosphere.
Fantastic.
It's almost like you planned that.
What more can you wish for? This is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. This location is absolutely amazing. I'm just amazed. I'm so happy. Back to you guys. I can't concentrate. I can't put my feelings into words. Look at this, and again, listen to the crowd.
Thank you very much, Florty. We will be coming back to you throughout the evening to get interviews and updates on what's going on in the arena. Amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so the three of us, they know about us, but they don't know about the most important people today, and those are the athletes.
Yes.
So we can hopefully go over to the athletes. I'm just looking over my shoulder here to see if they're ready to go. Yeah, it
Seems
looks like
yeah.
it. And we can introduce the 15 competitors today in the World Trophy 2022. Here they come.
Please welcome the Assistant Global Sports Director, Nathan Waterfield.
Okay, in fact, there are a couple of a bit of housekeeping going on the stage behind us. A couple of referees and those kind of people being introduced, and a couple of important people, VIPs and that kind of thing. That's very important to be introduced right now. But in a very short moment, we will have the athletes. I'm reliably informed that we now have the athletes. Here we go. These are the competitors for the World Trophy 2022. Starting off with Marcin Daga.
Brad DeLosa, sorry.
Brad DeLosa, apologies. You're absolutely right. He's wearing green. He is from Australia, and he is, in fact, one of the favourites for today to take the title.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got so much experience, and he made it here on a bit of a technicality, but he's here, and he can do it. If anybody's going to be able to take this World Trophy title today, it's Brad DeLosa,
Yeah,
but he's got a heavy amount of competition that's coming at him.
Yes, he has. An interesting story. We'll come close to that later. Closely followed by
Koen Martens.
Koen Martens. There he is.
A ton of experience here, a super nice guy. We talk to him quite often, and you know, he's had a bit of bad luck in the past, but he's fit, he's ready to go. I spoke to him really briefly earlier, and I said, how you feeling? How's it going? He's like, he kind of gave me a head shake. He's like, oh, I'm okay, but it's going to be tough competition today.
And there he is, Armin Kugler, coming to the stage there.
Yeah, one of the most interesting characters. He's always so serious looking on stage, but he's a funny guy. He's absolutely got a funny bone in there. You just don't see it, but he's concentrated when he's on stage. And believe it or not, he is one of those guys that you could really look at and say, okay, I don't know, but he is a fantastic competitor.
And there we see Jack Jordan coming to the stage there, all the way from New Zealand. And in fact, he won the New Zealand qualification. That is what got him here in the first place.
He took down some massive competition in New Zealand in order to make it to this competition today. So there are a lot of expectations from the New Zealanders for him to do well. And then comes Jack Argent.
Jack Argent from Australia, the wild card today. He won the World Rookie Championships yesterday, which qualified him for the pros today. He picked up a world record on his way yesterday.
Yes,
that was
he got the
fantastic,
springboard world record for rookies on a single board, so that was an absolutely fantastic effort on his part.
Qualifies as a wild card as an under-25s athlete.
There we have Redmer Knoll from the Netherlands.
1 meter 90 tall, 28 years old, weighing in 100 kilos. He qualified 7th in the World Trophy in 2021, and that's what got him his berth here.
He also was very fast on the qualifications today. I watched his qualification run. It was really good. If he can pick up the pace just a hair, he may well be right up on top.
Okay, that is Emil Hansson from Sweden, 21 years young. One of the lightest competitors at 97 kilos, but don't let that put you off in any way. He's got tons of power. He's also one of the wildcard entrants, qualifying as an under-25 athlete.
The reigning world champion coming up now. He won the U.S. title just recently. Jason Lentz, he is a man's man.
He's an absolute machine. Ice cold, always got the same focused look on his face.
Yeah.
This is his first appearance at a World Trophy, but his stamina is definitely going to put him in good stead here.
Absolutely, and he recently in an interview said, thanks Dad, thanks Granddad for the genetics, so just fantastic.
From Germany, Danny Martin, one of the gentlemen of the tour. An absolutely great guy, but also a fierce athlete.
Fierce athlete. He's been training hard. He's been staying on top of his fitness to be here, to be able to really compete, and he's going to have a tough job. He's in the heat against that man we just saw before him, Jason Lentz.
And this could really be one of the favorites to take home the whole trophy today. This is Ferry Svan from Sweden. You're a big fan, aren't you?
Absolutely. Former rookie world champion. He is one of the most fit athletes out there. His training regime is unlike any other. He does a lot of endurance fitness and a lot of stretching, and it really shows in the way that he's able to stay active and really keep moving. And we have the Pole, Marcin Darga. Marcin Darga, absolute monster. He is a powerhouse of a man. I watched his qualification round as well. Bit scary with him holding an axe in the hand.
He's not the only one who is terrifying with an axe in the hand. Another one is Dupuis, Marcel Dupuis from your home country, Troy.
A good Canadian
Canada.
Marcel Dupuis. He also had a very good qualification round, and he's one of those guys that tends to get faster as the rounds move longer. So it's an interesting facet of his style.
Good to see if he can make it through to the further rounds.
Martin Kalina, he was a late addition because of a couple of athletes falling out of the ranking here, so he gets to come in and participate. It's his first appearance at a World Trophy, so it's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders to do well for the Czech Republic.
einer der Gentlemen dieses Schwarzbunds. Ist jetzt das erste Mal dabei, aber jetzt kommt der
And representing Poland, it's Michael Dubicki. We watched him recently, didn't we?
Yeah.
He's got pace and power.
He's very quick with the axe in the hand. I mean, he really moves that axe quickly, and he's got power, and he's got, like you say, the pace, but he's also got the accuracy. He's definitely a top favorite for the win here today.
And from France, Pierre Pubaré.
The reigning French champion. He is a perennial participant in all of these events because there's just nobody that can touch him at the moment in France. It's unbelievable.
We watched him today in qualifying. That was terrifying. There they are, all 15 of them. The competitors vowing to become World Trophy Champion 2022 STIHL Timbersports. Okay, we're going to go over to the arena now for a moment of remembrance for the great Martin Comrade.
National trophy winner, a 6 times national champion, a vice European champion, and he was a beautiful soul and a beautiful human being. And we're missing him very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to ask you for a minute of silence. Wir würden Sie alle bitten, mit uns eine Trauerminute für Martin Komárek einzugehen. Vielen Dank. One of our favorites.
One of our favorites. Martin Komárek. Martin, he is one of the best timber sports athletes.
So Martin Komárek just has the fastest time.
European champion, Martin Komárek from the Czech Republic.
Wow, nice job by Martin Komárek, who just had a faster time than the reigning world champion.
Congratulations, Martin.
Komárek in 3rd place, and he seems pretty happy about that.
Kdybych řekl, že nechci vyhrát, určitě by to nebyla pravda, ale není to ten důvod, proč jsem sem přijel. Ty důvody jsou jinde a každopádně je to velká radost ta, že vůbec tady můžu být. Takže to první místo pro mě není to zásadní. To zásadní je, že jsem tady a že můžu závodit.
Komárek got it. 10:78. Fantastic time for Komárek. And Komárek sticks it. Oh my goodness. That was close. Look at the time here. Komárek, wow, he's got a good speed going on here. The upward stroke looks good for Komárek.
Martin Komárek, a legend of the sport, who died recently, aged just 45. So, dear viewers, back to the proceedings this evening, the World Trophy 2022. Let's take a look at how the competitors got here.
Moving through, of course, the 4 champions from the US, Australia, Canada, New Zealand. And there are our wildcard countries, Austria and Sweden, to our 16 athletes remaining that went through the qualification round here for the World Trophy.
So we've seen how they got here. Now let's take a look at what the competition format is all about and what the competitors today have to deal with. Here we go.
The STIHL Timbersports Trophy Competition. In the trophy format, athletes have to complete 4 disciplines back-to-back. After the start, they need to cut a complete disc with the stock saw within a 10-centimeter area. From there, the athletes have to complete the underhand chop as quickly as possible. Only after they split the block can they return to the starting point, where this time, the single buck is waiting for them to cut 1 complete cookie. In the final discipline, the athletes have to complete the standing block chop in order to achieve the best possible overall time. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification and the athlete will be eliminated. All participants must first demonstrate their skills in the time trial. The better the athletes perform in the time trial, the easier their first elimination round will be. The athletes now continue to compete in a knockout system through the quarterfinals and semifinals. The losers of the semifinals will fight for the last podium spot in the small final. After that, the 2 winners of the semifinals will compete one more time to see who takes the title.
Okay, so now we understand how the format works. Let's look at the first 8 heats. There are 15 competitors in total. They qualified using a time trial that was completed this afternoon. Delosa, you see here in Heat 1, was the fastest of those times. Reinhard, who it looks like he's up against in Heat 1, in fact, injured himself today during qualification, and so unfortunately he won't be competing. That means that Delosa will get a bye automatically through to the quarterfinal, but will complete a heat so that he has to go through the same physical work as the others, making it hopefully as fair as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good call as well to have Brad Delosa out on the stage, and it was actually his wish to be up there and have that 1 round alone. He knows that he's going to go through, and there you see him on stage now getting ready to do his lonely heat number 1 here in this trophy format. Otherwise, we would have seen Oliver Reinhardt. Unfortunately, Oliver did injure himself, as you atoned, and won't be able to compete. It's not a bad injury, but it just makes it impossible for him to compete here today. So he's all good otherwise.
So we've got Delosa going through the motions here. I'm sure, as a matter of fair play, he will put everything into it. That's certainly the attitude and the general feeling you get around here, don't you? So here we go. We're pretty much ready to go for Heat 1 of the round of 16, and this is Brad Delosa from Australia.
Yeah, I mean, in this particular case, he doesn't really need to worry about anything being on the other side of the stage. You know, he's not competing against anyone. He's got a bye, so this is just going through the motions, more or less. He can relax through this one if he wants to, but knowing Brad Delosa, he's probably going to try for a good time.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're competing against yourself, aren't you? But as we say, the time won't play a role here because he has automatically got a bye through to the quarterfinals. So
this gives us a good opportunity to show you what this format is all about. So here we go, cutting that first cookie, and he'll head straight towards the block at the front and the underhand chop. Now here, it's the same situation as with the individual competitions. He's got to cut through the log from both sides. The difference is, you see, that block has a complete flat top, whereas in the individual competitions, they cut footholds for the athletes. So this is a bit of a different situation there for that underhand chop. And Brad DeLosa he's just relaxing through the situation now. He's not really pressing himself. Now moving over to the single buck, that misery whip. He is so solid in this discipline, and this is where he often plays a little bit of catch-up for guys that might be a bit faster in the underhand chop or in the stock saw, and he drops that cookie.
Straight through that.
No problem at all. And then the final discipline in this format is the standing block chop. And again, it's the same idea as with the individual disciplines, but at the end, you're tired having done 3 disciplines beforehand, and now you've got to cut that top block off of this log here. And you know, he's going to be tired, and all the athletes are going to be absolutely worked by the time they get through this. But imagine you have to do this 4 more times.
There he goes with a time of 1:12. DeLosa setting the standard there. That was actually very interesting, because I was thinking as he was starting, I was thinking, well, the times are relevant. He's through anyway, so he's going to take this easy. But you know what? You've got to get through those logs to complete.
Correct.
So he's probably thinking, I don't want to make this too long for myself. I don't want to prolong this. I want to get this done. But it's all about conserving energy, right?
Yeah, absolutely correct. And I mean, if we take a look at the time trial speed that he had, his time was 1:05, and that 1:12 that he got there would have put him in 5th place. And you could see he was just relaxing through that. He wasn't really pressing himself, but he still got a very respectable time. So imagine when Brad's adrenaline is pumping and he's really putting himself into the competition and really focusing on the fact that, hey, there's another guy across the way fighting against me.
I mean, that shows the kind of level that he's at, right? That
Absolutely.
he's able to put up such a powerful time despite not actually needing to.
Yeah, I mean, he's a living legend in the sport, and he's one of those guys that a lot of people look up to learn from, and he's been around long enough to know exactly what it takes. He can relax through these situations and not have to worry about it, because he knows he has the skills that he needs in order to be successful. He's done it before, and he's one of those guys. This is why I say he's one of the absolute favorites, and I would not be surprised at all to see him and perhaps Mikhail Dubicki or even Jason Lenz heading up against each other in the final. But I'm not going to...
Could we throw Svan into that question as well?
Ferry Svan is definitely a guy you could throw into that question as well. I mean, there's so many... It's tough. You could throw a dart at a board with their names on it and hit a guy that could win this thing for sure.
Let's throw a dart at the board and not at the guys themselves.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be good.
You could see there that the look on DeLosa's face is just pure relaxation through that, you know? He just didn't need to worry about it at all. There was no stress for him whatsoever. And so we go to our second heat between Koen Martens and Armin Kugler.
So this is where it kicks off proper.
Yep.
These are essential heats. So
this is the elimination round. We have
exactly.
to remember. So the loser of this heat is out. That's it. Done.
We are not playing for times here. They are competing against each other.
Now they're competing against each other. Like in racing, first across the line moves to the next round or is the winner.
Okay, and what you see here is is Kugler, for example, going through the last-minute preparations. That's really interested me this week, watching the qualifications and watching the practice of the competitors. Is how much mental preparation.
Dupuis, yeah?
For example, I saw him pacing the arena, marking out in his mind where his feet might land, where his hands might swing. An enormous amount of mental preparation goes into this as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think probably in this particular format, mental preparation is about as important, if not more important, than the physical preparation. These guys are staying on top of their physical preparation throughout the year, but really walking through each of those individual disciplines on stage and knowing you're pacing exactly right just helps you have that extra bit of confidence. But here we go. So this is the first heat that's going to be for some marbles, and hopefully they're shiny ones for one of these two guys. Armin Kugler, never underestimate this man. Koen Martens, super fit, tons of experience on the stage between both of them. Here we go with our first heat for the money.
Athletes, ready!
So it's Martens on the left, going up against Kugler from Austria on the right.
Go!
Good start for both. Koen Martens with a good cut there. He'll move over to the underhand chop first and start working on that block. Armin Kugler about 2 strokes back of Koen Martens as he dropped the cookie on his stock saw a little bit later. Not much. Koen Martens now moves over to the other side of his block. Armin Kugler still working on the first side. Has he moved over yet? I don't remember seeing what side he started on, but Koen Martens looking very good here so far. Armin Kugler,
both on their second side.
Both on their second side, and there it is. Koen Martens is through, and he's moving over to the single buck now. Koen Martens is quite strong on the single buck, and if he can get through the single buck quickly, he's going to have a massive advantage over Armin Kugler, who's really struggling on the second side of his block, trying to get some appreciation and some support from the fans here. And now he's finally through, but he's got a huge disadvantage as Koen Martens has now moved to the final discipline, the standing block chop, and he's really looking good here today. Koen Martens got a nice block there. You can see that darker wood on the inside. His angles are perfect. Moves over to the other side casually. Now you can see he's taking his time. He's relaxing. This is a little bit of the tactical thing that these guys do. He knows that Kugler is well behind him, but he knows he's no slouch either, so he's got to beat Kugler to get on to the next round, and there you see Koen Martens, but look at the time, 1:21.01. What a difference there.
Compared to the qualifications, that's actually not a fast time, but it's not about the times here, it's about just getting over the line as the winner on the hill.
Correct, but you can look at those times and think about, okay, look at what Brad DeLosa did, just relaxing, and when he puts a little bit of gas into it, could be some trouble for a guy like Koen Martens. And there we go.
There he is,
Kugler
the
with a
local
1:45.71.
Kugler cheered on by his local fans.
He is not happy about that performance, though, not at all. And it started for him with the underhand chop. He was just struggling to get through that block on the underhand.
And that kind of dominoed throughout the whole discipline then, didn't it?
Exactly. That's not always the way. Sometimes a guy will struggle on a certain discipline and be maybe 1 or 2 strokes behind, but be able to catch up on a discipline where he might be a little bit stronger. Now, if you put Kugler and Koen Martens together in a single buck, Kugler is going to win over Koen Martens almost every single time.
Koen Martens!
So we are seeing there the confirmation from the referee.
Andy Hall, yeah.
Andy Hall confirming that both times are good. So that means that Martens goes through to the quarterfinals, and unfortunately it is Auf Wiedersehen for the local boy Kugler. So, I mean, through the first discipline, they were both pretty equal, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a really strong cut for Kugler, but he wasn't that far behind. The problem started for Kugler on the underhand chop, this discipline right here. He just couldn't get through that block, and he was really struggling. And by the time that Koen Martens left that block, Kugler was a good 10 strokes behind. And yeah, I mean, it just wasn't his axe today on the underhand chop. When he got over to the single buck, he's very quick on the single buck. He's quite good, in fact, in that discipline. So had he been maybe just 2 or 3 strokes or 4 strokes back, he might have caught up to Koen Martens on that single buck, but then it was just too late. He was too far behind, and Koen Martens could take his time on the standing block chop here. And by the time it was done and dusted, Koen Martens moves on to the next round, and Armin Kugler is unfortunately, as the only Austrian participating here today, eliminated.
That is a pity, and it's a bit of a surprise, actually, because in his qualification, he clocked up a time of 1:17, nearly 30 seconds slower here. So,
yeah,
you know, maybe the pressure of the crowd, the pressure of the competition, that other competitor next to you, it just didn't happen for him tonight.
Sometimes, I mean, we saw that with the women yesterday. Being alone on stage was an advantage for a couple of the ladies that were there. And, you know, in this case, we think that the adrenaline is pumping a little bit more for the guys, and it just didn't work out for them. Here's going to be an interesting heat.
Exactly. Let's see if the adrenaline was pumping in Heat 3. This is Jack Argent, the wild card from yesterday, who won the Rookie World Championship and so qualified, going up against Jack Jordan.
So Australia, Jack Argent, and New Zealand, Jack Jordan, going up against each other.
Jacks.
And this is always a good battle between Australia and New Zealand, you know. It's a big family here, and these guys love each other, but when they get on stage, there's no love lost.
I was going to say, they don't love each other now.
They just want to beat the pants off of each other. That's what it boils down to.
They've had a long journey, of course. They've both been here a couple of days, been acclimatizing to the jet lag and those kinds of things. And Jack had an absolutely cracking day yesterday.
Yeah, he
culminating in a rookie world record, even
won
on
the world championship, and then he got the world record in springboard. Exactly right. I mean, he just did a great job, and it was maybe his, I think it was his second time doing springboard in competition.
Gentlemen.
Remarkable. And I remember his wonderful humility in the interview yesterday saying, yeah, I did okay. Let's see if he'll do okay here. This is heat number 3, and this is Argent in the green going up against Jordan in the black.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very good start by Jack Jordan or Jack Argent on that stock saw. Jack Jordan, though, just a bit slow on dropping the axe and the glasses and the ear protection, and they move over to the underhand chop.
The speed of Argent,
Jack Argent, he's looking very good. We saw that he was solid in this discipline, but Jack Jordan moved over to the other side about 3 strokes ahead of Jack Argent. There's too many Jacks on stage. This is Jack in the box up there, and now it's Jack Jordan moving over to the single buck. And if he's had any training from the Masters down in New Zealand, he'll be solid in this discipline. Here comes Jack Argent now moving over to the single buck, but Jordan's got a massive lead now as he steps up to the log at the standing block chop. He is the winner of the New Zealand Pro competition, and that's why he's here. He took down some absolute legends and masters of the sport back home, and he's already moved over to the other side. This is a massive accomplishment for that man. Oh my goodness! And we have 2 times under 1 minute here by Jack Jordan and Jack Argent. Oh, excuse me, no, Jack Argent's time didn't stop there, but Jack Jordan with a 58.39. That's a personal best and the fastest time of the day. And if I look, it's not that far off the world record of Matthew Kogar with a 54.68. There'll be,
anything
of course,
sub 1 minute in this event is just fantastic, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, look at all the things they have to do, and Jack Argent drops the block at 127.36.
Argent getting over the line as well there, beating, in fact, his time from this afternoon qualification, so I think he'll be pleased with that. It's his first day as a pro, let's be honest, right? So that's a great performance.
You know, getting the wild card coming from the rookie competition directly into the pro competition, he has a full weekend of activity, and the other guys have just been more or less warming up and keeping themselves ready to go.
So we just waiting for the confirmation from the referee, Andy Hall, that both cuts were good.
Okay, the winner is Jack Jordan.
They are both good, and the confirmation, Jack Jordan with a time of 58.07, which is a personal best for him.
That's
fantastic.
An amazing time.
That is a great time, and that puts him in great standing and guarantees him his place in the quarterfinals.
What was amazing for me is that he was just slightly ahead of Jack Argent on the stock saw here, but look at the difference. Jack Argent's cut there on stock saw. He's trying the thin to win cut here. Jack Jordan, on the other hand, went for a thicker cookie to leave less pressure for the single buck, which was a very smart decision on his part. And I mean, I was absolutely amazed at how quick Jack Jordan got through the 2 chopping disciplines. He is definitely one of the best axemen I've seen in a long time.
Maybe just for those of you coming new to the sport here, when you see them on that block, chopping, swinging the axe with so much force down between their legs, I was a bit shocked the first time I saw that, but I've been reliably informed that they are wearing protective socks underneath those shoes, right?
Yeah, chainmail like the Knights of Yore used to wear all over their body, but these guys wear knee-high chainmail socks that cover their feet and ankles and their legs to make sure that if the axe does slip and hit a foot, that the worst thing that's going to happen is maybe a broken toe.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that today in qualification, obviously. Injuries sadly do happen. Let's hope that an injury doesn't happen here in Heat 4. This is Knoll from the Netherlands going up against Hansson from Sweden. Hansson's quite favoured by a few here, right?
He's one of those guys that you kind of look at and say, oh, yeah, maybe, and then he comes up and he just slams you in the face with a surprise, excellent performance. Emil is one of those guys that we're looking at to be, you know, a future major star in this sport. That's not saying that Redmar Knoll isn't one of those guys that also can do it. Redmar Knoll's time trial time from earlier on today was very, very good, and
yeah,
he looked solid
112 this afternoon, and that was a personal best for him. So he's clearly on form today.
Definitely, and I think 112 was 5th or 6th.
Yeah, it was 5th. Yeah,
5th place. Yeah, so that was 5th place for him in the qualification round. So right now, all he's got to do is get past Emil Hansson, but I tell you what, Emil Hansson is not going to make it easy for him. Should be a very good heat, actually.
I tell you what, the crowd are absolutely loving this, and this is standing room only here at the Rathausplatz here in Vienna, Austria. Wonderful crowd, and they're supporting all countries. We've got the Netherlands here going up against Sweden. This is Knoll going up against Hansson.
I talked with Redmar earlier on and said, "So you feeling good?" And he just gave me a head nod and a wink, and so he's obviously feeling solid for the competition. Here we go.
A few words.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Great even start by both of these guys. Emil Hansen looking very good. It's going to be an even drop, but Emil Hansen a little bit ahead of Redmar Knoll as they move over to the underhand chop. Emil Hansen very quick with the axe as we're trying to look through that block and see a picture of him now. We get that front shot. Redmar Knoll getting the axe stuck a couple of times, and Hansen is about 2 strokes ahead of Knoll as he moves over to the other side. And Knoll is now working on the backside of his block. It's a question of etiquette. As I pass, do I give you the crotch or the butt shot? And Redmar Knoll struggling to get through that block as Emil Hansen has already moved over to the single buck. Here's where Knoll may have an opportunity to catch up, but he's struggling to get that thing started. He bows the saw already, and now he is on it, but Emil Hansen's already moved on to the standing block chop. There's no chance for Redmar Knoll at this point. If Emil Hansen keeps hitting the way he's hitting today, he only took 3 or 4 drivers at that block to get through, and he is very close to dropping it. Look at the effort that he's putting into it. What a run by Emil Hansen. 1:05.37. Redmar Knoll did play a pretty good game of catch-up after he got that single buck running, but it took him a long time to get there because of that underhand chop. 2 or 3 more drivers should do it to finish the time for Redmar here on that standing block, and he gets it done in 1:24.89. That's going to be some disappointment for him considering the time that he had in the quali.
I was going to say, that is the first surprise of the evening, isn't it? Hanson in qualification a time of 1:22, smashing it to 1:05 here and beating the favourite of this heat, Knoll, there to go through the quarterfinals. Huge surprise.
Yeah, it was a good heat between these two guys, but Emil Hansen just basically, you know, after the drop of the cookie and the stock saw, he was well in charge of that heat.
And the winner is Emil Hansen.
There's the confirmation that Hanson won that heat. Like I say, that was definitely a surprise. That's put the cat amongst the pigeons, actually.
And he's got a personal best, the cat among the pigeons. That's fantastic. A personal best of 1:04.98. So we'll see Emil Hansen in the next round as we take a look here at the slow-mo. It was a very nice cut. He was steady, solid, kept the pace going through the block. Here on the underhand chop is where Redmar Knoll ran into problems. Emil Hansen moved over 1, 2, 3. Yeah, a good 4 strokes before Redmar Knoll made his first driver on the other side of his block. So that was a massive advantage, especially considering the level of skill that these guys have. And from that point on, it was just Redmar Knoll trying to play catch-up to Emil Hansen here. Emil, big bow, got that thing stuck.
Despite that hook, right?
Yeah. And
look at him. I mean, in slow motion, it looks like he's there for an age.
Yeah, and I mean, for these guys, it probably feels like he's there for a coon's age trying to move that thing, but he did get it going. And once he got it going, he was really solid with it. And there, hitting it to the left field with a fantastic final driver. So Emil Hansen pleased about that, and everything was on the up and up for both of their cuts. So Emil Hansen will be moving on to the next round.
He will be with a time of 1:04, which would have, and this is very interesting, that would have been the fastest time in qualifying.
Correct.
So it's incredible to see the leap in times that you get in qualification. Let's see what kind of times we get here from Heat 5. This is Lenz from the United States going up against Danny Martin, the 34-year-old from Germany.
Jason Lenz is the reigning world champion in the individual event. He won it in Munich here last year in Europe, and he was pretty much dominant throughout the entire competition, but he did have a very, very close heat with Martin Komarek, our colleague who we just honored earlier on. And yeah, it was a fantastic event. Jason Lenz definitely earned that world championship status, and now he is vying for the double crown here with the world trophy title. So let's see if he can do that. He's such a big boy. He's a very strong competitor, but you never want to count out a guy like Danny Martin. He's been training hard for this, and mistakes can happen on both sides. So Danny Martin will be looking to have a quick stock saw and get over to that underhand chop because he knows Lenz is an absolute beast with the axe in hand.
Lenz qualified with a time of 1:07. Danny Martin coming in with a 1:31, so this should be one-sided. And don't adjust your sets, dear viewers. Jason Lentz really is that big.
Okay, gentlemen.
This should be one-sided, but we've seen some surprises this weekend already, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would be fair to say one-sided, a lopsided, maybe a little bit, but like I said, Danny Martin can come on strong. You know, he just needed to get in there, and he's got the skills to definitely be able to get in there and do some damage. So let's see how he does.
Ready.
Here we go. This is Jason Lentz from the USA in red going up against Danny Martin from Germany in the black.
Nice start for Danny Martin. He's solid with the stock saw in hand, but it looks like Lenz is going to have a clean cut. Oh, they're dead even heading over to the underhand chop. A little bit of a bobble by Jason Lenz, and it's Danny Martin who got an early start on the underhand chop, and he's looking very good. He's got a wide cut line on that block, and Jason Lenz and Danny Martin both move over to the other side. A huge pause by Jason Lenz, though, as he hovered the axe up in the air looking for the balance. Danny Martin looking like he's good to go over to the single buck. It's a great performance by Martin so far. He just needs to be clean here through the single buck, and Jason Lenz is so solid in this discipline. He kicks it up a notch right now. Oh my God, it's going to be close at the single buck right now. And Jason Lenz drops it, moves over to his strongest discipline. Danny Martin may be in trouble here, but Danny Martin is doing a fantastic job to keep up to Jason Lenz. He led him for a little while there. And now Danny Martin moves over to the other side of his block, just a stroke and a half ahead of Jason Lenz. It's going to be close, coming down to the finish. Lenz is a big boy. He's very strong. Danny Martin is... Oh! Jason Lenz does it in 103.91. And Danny Martin, a personal best with 108.05. What an absolute fantastic run from Danny Martin. You have to be proud of that. That was incredible, but Jason Lenz, you get to that point in the standing block chop, and there's no one better than him in that discipline here today. Absolutely not.
Wow, what a performance. What a performance from Jason Lenz, but also Danny Martin. He's got to be absolutely delighted with that time.
Yes, definitely. I mean, he kicked off and did a great job with that single buck, and from there he was more or less just a step ahead of Jason Lenz, but on that standing block chop, there is no hope.
That is actually the fourth fastest time we've seen today from Martin. It's a personal best from him. In fact, he smashed his personal best. So congratulations to both there, but of course to the red-shirted monster there on the left-hand side, Jason Lenz, 103.55.
What a couple of legends, though. Let's take a look at the slow-mo. This was a great stock saw by Danny Martin, though, really. He got it perfectly lined up. He went for a thick cookie here, and again, a smart decision, because then that means you've got a thinner piece to drop off for your single buck. Yeah, so there's not as much binding on that saw.
Tactics, I see, I get it.
It's all about tactics here. Danny Martin was actually first to get to the single buck, and you see right there, it hooked up a little bit, and he was slow to get it started, and that was the advantage for Jason Lenz. And then Jason, he just cut through that thing like a hot knife through butter. It was absolutely a fantastic run. But watch. The cookie drops for Lenz, and then a stroke and a half later, the cookie drops for Danny Martin, and Jason Lenz moved to the standing block chop with a slight advantage, and that was the problem there for Danny Martin. Danny's super solid in this discipline, but like I said, when it's the team competition, Jason Lenz is always on this discipline. He is the kick for these guys, and that was the difference maker here.
An absolutely massive heat there. Great performance from both athletes. The audience, the crowd here are going absolutely crazy. You might be able to hear them. We're going to go over to the arena to pick up some of these scenes and see our Austrian volcano Florty there entertaining everybody. Here we go.
Natürlich auch auf der Seite. Keep the atmosphere rolling.
Throwing away 3 T-shirts there. Why don't we get free T-shirts here in the studio? Incredible. That's a good point. The producer gave me this T-shirt this morning, so I'll give you the point. But what a fantastic crowd. It goes all the way down the fan mile, all the way down to the museum there. People have been eating and drinking there all afternoon, enjoying the sunshine, and of course, enjoying the timber sports.
Let's not forget, we have to give a big prop out to the crew that comes on stage to change the blocks and everything. You know, Luke Marcus is out there having a good time, floaty, throwing out the hats to everybody. And meanwhile, while they're doing that, the crew in the background has just changed the entire stage, getting it ready for the next heat. And here they are. 2.5 minutes it took to change that whole stage and get it ready for this heat coming up.
Brilliant stuff. We're ready for Heat 6 then, and this is one of the favourites, Ferry Svan from Sweden, going up against Marcin Darga from Poland. A personal best of 1:02 there, Svan. It's not sub 1 minute, which we've already seen today, but it would qualify as the best time if we were to see that time here again, so this could be very interesting.
I predict Ferry Svan will be under a minute in this one, barring any major mistakes.
Ooh, I like it when you make predictions. I like it.
Marcin Darga is a big man. He's very, very powerful. You know, the Polish team have been really, really dominant in the last few years, and they've been producing some absolutely amazing talent, but Ferry Svan is just a different animal altogether, and you're going to see two very opposite types of people. There you see Marcin Darga's arms are about the same width around as Ferry Svan's chest. I mean, this guy is massive. He's got so much power. The question is, with all of that mass, is he going to be able to have the endurance? We know that Ferry Svan does. So let's see if he can hold on.
Well, this is going to be interesting because we are getting to the stage now at these heats where the qualifiers had quite similar times, right? Ferry Svan qualified with 1:13, Darga with only 1:18, so there's almost nothing in it between these two.
Yeah, but I'm still sticking with my prediction that Ferry Svan's going to be under a minute here because he knows he's got Darga in behind him.
Your
So we are looking at one of the pre-tournament favourites from Sweden, Ferry Svan, in the yellow. On the left there, going up against Marcin Darga in the white and reds from Poland.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice even start by both of them. Ferry Svan on that saw very quickly. Both of them threw it about the same time. Darga over to the underhand chop, a little bit faster than Ferry Svan. Now watch the speed of the axe on both of these guys. Absolutely insane. Look how quickly they're moving the axe. Darga's onto the other side now. Ferry Svan 4 strokes behind him as he steps over to the other side. Darga, the powerhouse, is motoring through that thing like it's a motor saw. Svan steps down. He's in a bit of trouble here as he's gotten that axe stuck, and he now finally breaks it through and moves over to the single buck. Svan is solid on the single buck, but Darga's got a mega lead. Svan going for some short, choppy starter cuts to get that thing moving, and Darga, ooh, look at this, it's going to be a catch-up game. Svan is right there with him. Darga is already on the standing block chop. Svan's joined him on the standing block chop, but now he's moving into getting that side done. And who's going to go over to the other side first? It's going to be Darga, and Svan right behind him. This is so close, coming down to the wire here. I wish I could see the time. I don't know what the time is right now, but it looks like it might be Darga as he's going for some huge drivers to try and get it through. It's going to be Svan, or is it going to be Darga? It's going to be Svan! Unbelievable! I can't wait to see what the time is. Darga struggling on this standing block chop, just didn't have it at the end. The power went away, and he was trying too many big drivers to get through there, and now he's struggling to get that block off the top, and he's just killed himself here with the time. Oh, that is unfortunate for the Pole, Marcin Darga. But Ferry Svan, what an unbelievable heat that was. And I'm curious to know what Ferry Svan's time was in that one. I think it was, my call of under a minute is way off. It's a 1:29.78 by the looks of it here.
1:09 Svan finished with. Those times are corrected down a little bit.
I see that now.
But they were so close until just seconds before the end.
Yeah.
And he just got stuck there right at the end on the last log there. It just slowed him down, didn't it?
Yeah, Marcin Darga, so powerful, but he just spent it all trying to get there and beat Ferry Svan. And Ferry Svan, he kept his cool, he stayed calm about the whole thing, and he managed to get by the big man, and he is moving on to the next round. What an unbelievable performance. Let's look back here. Again, that same concept, making it a thick cut to start things off and thin for that single buck. And here on the underhand chop, he was a bit behind Darga, and Darga split that log 1-2.
See, Darga's in the lead at that stage.
And actually, Ferry stepped down there, and that's 4 strokes now, 5 strokes behind Darga as he heads over to the single buck. Darga's got a good head start on Ferry Swan on the single buck, but Ferry Swan did an absolute epic job to try and catch up with Darga. And you know that Darga had Ferry Swan just in the corner of his eye, and Ferry Swan managed to come through, and look how pleased he is about that. He knows that he has just beaten one of the strongest competitors in the field in Marcin Darga.
We have seen, look at us going, look at you going crazy there. That's an absolutely beautiful shot. Fantastic work from the director there, and fantastic work from Svan. He's booked his place in the quarterfinals. Who'll join him there from Heat 7? We've got Dupuis from Canada going up against Martin Kalina from the Czech Republic.
Martin Kalina filled in for some empty spots that we had in the field here, so bit of an unknown when it comes to the trophy format, but what we saw earlier on was that he was pretty solid in the time trials, looked very good out there and was having a good time, so really not much at stake for him. He just needs to flow through and have a good time. He's in a bit of a tough jam here going up against Marcel Dupuis. Marcel Dupuis, a ton of experience, a very solid competitor, and he looked good in the time trials as well.
So we can see and hear the crowd there loving every minute of this. We can see German flags, Austrian flags, of course.
And there's a few of the Canadian fans in the audience as well. You can see them with the black shirt, the black and red jerseys.
Beautiful representation from all across the world here. We've got the Czech Republic going up against Canada in this heat. Dupuis, a fellow countryman of yours. Does he come from a similar part of the country to you, or?
No, I think he's French-Canadian, in fact, is what I understand. I would have to check that out. I've talked to him a lot, and he's had a bit of an accent there. It's quite nice. I like it.
Warm up your souls.
There we go. We see the Czech flag waving in front of the Rathaus here, the town hall in Vienna, as they warm up their chainsaw, steel chainsaws, of course.
Here we go. By the way, Martin Kalina, European Trophy 2018, a minute 14 and change. So pretty good time.
Timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Good start. Marcel Dupuis, he's a solid sawyer when it comes to the stock saw. He's through just a hair ahead of Kalina, but Kalina got there quickly as well, moving over to the underhand chop. Now both of them are on the underhand chop at the same time. You'll notice as well, Marcel Dupuis is wearing spiked shoes for added grip on the surface here today. Not that it's slippery, but some guys opt for the spikes and some guys go with a soft sole running shoe for good grip and flex in the sole. Marcel Dupuis looking for a split, but it's not happening very quickly, and it's Martin Kalina who gets through first, but Marcel Dupuis not even a half a stroke behind as they move to the single buck now. The single buck heat is on between these two guys. Look at the stance by Marcel Dupuis. This is the advantage for him, that he's got those spiked shoes on, but he is slightly behind Martin Kalina at the moment. Kalina looking very solid going up against the Canadian Dupuis. Dupuis should move over to the other side now. Yes, he is, and he's onto the other side, so now the advantage goes to Dupuis. Kalina has joined him on the other side of his block. Dupuis just passing 1 minute 9 seconds, 10 seconds, but he's just going to drop that block off the top. Will he be able to do it, or is Kalina going to catch up and beat him? No, it's going to be Marcel Dupuis. Kalina is gone out of this one. Unfortunate for Kalina, who actually led through most of these heats here. Coming up to the standing block chop, finally drops it in 1:24.88. That's a good 10 seconds off his time from 2018, but it's going to be Marcel Dupuis moving on to the quarterfinals.
Dupuis taking heat 7 there in a time of 1:16.89, taking it home for Canada. He will be in the quarterfinals. That was again close until the saw. I felt that that's where Kalina kind of lost a couple of key seconds.
On the single buck, yeah. I mean, Marcel's a very, very good sawyer with the single buck, but it was Kalina who actually dropped that cookie just slightly ahead of Dupuis and moved over to the standing block chop. And on the standing block chop, Dupuis is also very, very good. I mean, he's a well-rounded timber sports athlete, and the winner is official. It's Marcel Dupuis.
So the time's been nudged down just a touch there, 1:16.71. It's not one of the fastest of the day, interestingly, but as we've said a number of times, you don't have to get the fastest time here. You've just got to
be faster than the other guy.
Be faster than the other guy, like you were saying earlier today,
bear.
right? Yeah. What is it? If a bear's chasing me in the woods,
I don't have to be faster than the bear. I just have to be faster than the other guy.
That is the motto of the day: be faster than the other guy. Great shot here from the creatives, giving us a real feel of the power that goes into every blow here.
Yeah, and we've iterated this so many times. It's power and precision and flow. Yeah, you got to have that precision, but you know, power is nothing without control. Yeah, see there, the cookie drops just ahead of Dupuis for Kalina, and now moves over to the standing block chop. And I think maybe the angles were just not quite right for Kalina on this one, and Dupuis really knew what he had to do on that standing block chop. And you could see he wasn't holding back at all. And that's the thing, though, you know, these guys, they get into these head-to-head competitions. They know they need to win the heat in order to move on to the next round. They're expending a massive amount of energy. They got to go back. They got to have an energy drink, an energy bar, or something to replenish the reserves in their body so they're ready for the next round, because if they get through to the next round, they got to do this all over again.
In total, 4 times. The winner will have to do this 4 times tonight. Correct. And remember, they've done another one in qualification this afternoon. Yep. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. We are ready for Heat 8 then of the round of 16. This is the final heat, and this is Dubicki going up against another one of the favourites here, the Frenchman Pierre Puy-Barré.
Yeah. Michael Dubicki has been working very, very hard on his endurance. He's a big man, you know, among the Poles. He is very, very powerful. But the thing is if you watch his online workout routines on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever, you can see that he works a lot on CrossFit and in his endurance. So it's really important for this particular event and this particular format to have that endurance. It's incredibly important, and he's been working hard on that. So last year we saw massive strides by Michael Dubicki to come to the next level in his athletic life and in STIHL Timbersports.
2 big, strong guys going head to head.
So they are just making the last preparations up on stage. They want to get everything really, centimetre exact.
Yeah.
We watched them in practice, marking out and pacing out their routine through the whole course on the stage. They seem to be ready. The referee's giving the final call here. They'll charge up and warm up their machines, and then we're good to go for Heat 8 of the round of 16. This is Dubicki versus Puy-Barré.
Pierre Puy-Barré being followed by a camera team as well. They're doing a documentary on him, and he is a guy that you got to watch out for. He's sneaky fast.
3, 2, 1, go!
Good quick up by Dubicki to get that saw in the log fast. He's got a good clean cut, but they're dead even as they move over to the underhand chop, and Pierre Puy-Barré and Dubicki at it right away. Dubicki's got that fast axe. Pierre Puy-Barré, he's about half stroke slower than Dubicki. Dubicki gets a big driver in the other side, but it gets it stuck, giving Pierre Puy-Barré a chance to turn around and get onto the other side of his block and move towards catching up with Dubicki. Dubicki's moved over to the single buck now, and Pierre Puy-Barré is about a stroke and a half back as he sets into that single buck. Look at the difference in style here. Big, fast, long strokes by Dubicki. Pierre Puy-Barré going for those long, efficient strokes, and he finally gets through, moving over to the standing block chop. Advantage now going to Dubicki as he is working the first side of the standing block chop. This is the discipline where he's super solid, and he's got the power and the precision to keep going. Nice big slab coming off. Pierre Puy-Barré still on the first side of his block, hasn't moved over to the other side yet, and now finally gets over there onto the other side. And it's Dubicki at 1:03.59. A great time for him, but he's won this one hands down without a problem. Pierre Puy-Barré, he's going to still fight through it to get the time, but he knows he's out at this point. 3 more drivers should do it. Oh, excuse me, 1 more driver. And Pierre Puy-Barré is done in 1:16.20.
And we've got our complete field for the quarterfinals. Dubicki making up the numbers as the 16th member, beg your pardon, in the final heat there. Wow, Michael Dubicki it seemed like he was just blowing that away at the last discipline, the standing block chop.
He was a man on fire there for sure. I mean, the standing block chop is his discipline, and he's come a long way in the single buck as well. And we saw that he used to be a real choppy cutter. When it came to the single buck, he'd be like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth really quickly. And now he starts off that way more often than not, but you can see he uses that power and that skill and that flow with the full length of the saw, and that's a big game changer for him.
Dubicki for Poland, 103.70, good enough to take him into the quarterfinals. And here we can see the slow motion. He was straight into it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was quick on the saw, very quick to get it up there. And again, here's that technique of making a thick cookie to start things off and having a little bit of a thinner cookie for the single buck. In contrast there, Pierre Puy-Barré, he's got, not a super thick cookie, and he's got more material there to bind up against the saw. And there you see Dubicki on the far side, just going for those big drivers. That's Pierre Puy-Barré, sorry. Dubicki up close there with the red and white jersey. And the fast axe by Dubicki, they're really adopting that Australian quick axe style, and it really works for him. And the guys that have the power and the precision to be able to do that, because it's not very easy to move that axe that quickly and still be accurate.
Yeah, I can imagine that you've also got to put a certain amount of tactics into this. You don't want to expend too much energy in the earlier rounds, do you? Because they're going to need this moving forwards in the quarters, maybe even semis, maybe even final, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you need to look at who you're going up against in these first couple of rounds and see if you can save some energy in certain areas. But it's not very easy, because Puy-Barré, you know, he was challenging Dubicki all the way along. It really, for him, it was a struggle on the standing block chop against Dubicki, who's very solid in that discipline.
So there is the combination of the competitors that have made it through to the quarterfinals. We've got Delosa will go up in quarterfinal 1 against Martins, and Jordan from Australia will go up against Hansson from Sweden. In the third quarterfinal, we'll get Lentz from America going up against Ferry Svan from Sweden, and Dupuy will be against Dubicki in the quarterfinal. My apologies, Jordan from New Zealand, of course. That is a strong quarterfinal lineup, isn't it?
It's a very strong quarterfinal lineup, and I look at the heat number 11 there in our list. Jason Lentz going up against Ferry Svan. Again, it's what do we say?
Please, Karen.
Goliath. I can't remember. I just had a complete and utter brain meltdown because of that heat with Ferry Swan earlier. I got so overexcited. But
we were saying what a strong lineup that's going to be in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it's a super strong lineup, and I was just looking at that heat with Ferry Swan and Jason Lentz, and again, it's a big, strong man who's accurate, who's fit, who's ready to go, going up against a smaller slider, more wiry athlete in Ferry Swan. So the question for me is Ferry Swan, like he did against Martin Darga, is it going to be something that he's going to be able to pull off against the big American?
Well, what we can do now is we can go split screen and go heat against heat and see the top best performers in the round of 16. Let's check that out and compare alongside. So here we are seeing
Jack Jordan
Lentz on the right hand side
Lentz.
and Jordan on the left. Obviously they were in different heats, but we can see the two going up against each other.
Different cutting styles with the stock saw, and here you can see Jack Jordan was very quick on the turnaround. Jason Lentz got his axe caught a couple of times, and then he hovered for quite a long time there, waiting to get the balance and that feel, and then stepped into it. And Jack Jordan at this point has already moved over to the single buck, and you can see he gets it going right away, and then gets into those long strokes. But here comes Jason Lentz. Look at how he starts right away with the power of those long strokes and keeps that flow going. Such an exceptional competitor he is, and it's fantastic finish for him. And now Jason Lentz moving over to a discipline where he is absolutely dominant. Jack Jordan, meanwhile, he's been cutting so well. One of the best axemen I've seen in a long time. It didn't take him long at all to get through that log. It was almost a melon for him. What a great job by the young man from New Zealand.
So 16 become 8. I think it's fair to say that some of the favourites have gone through, but there were a couple of surprises along the way as well there, weren't there?
Yeah, you could say there were a couple of surprises. Mika Dubicki, not really surprised because he was going up against Pierre Puy-Barré, who is a very strong competitor. The surprise for me was that Pierre Puy-Barré just wasn't as close to him at all. The guy that was surprising for me here is Koen Martens, who did a great job.
Right, we are ready for the quarterfinals. This is heat number 1. So it's Brad DeLosa for the first time competing in the competition for real against Martens from Belgium. This will be very interesting to see DeLosa now.
Yeah, I feel bad for Koen Martens because Brad DeLosa is so insanely strong in this discipline, in this format. Although Koen Martens did have a really good first heat there. So
the other slight advantage that he's had, of course, he wasn't only competing against no one, he also had a slightly longer recuperation period compared to the other athletes because he went first, right? So this will be very interesting to see if this plays any kind of a role. So the last minute preparations, they warm up their machines, put them on those pads there that help them to not let the chainsaw slip across the ground, and we are ready to go in the first quarterfinal, which is DeLosa against Martens.
Go!
Great start by both of them. Wow, Brad DeLosa so smooth and quick through that block. Both of them dropping their cookies at the same time, coming over to the underhand chop. A quick stick by DeLosa, and Martens has got about a 2-stroke lead though. And now Martens is getting into that block well. He's obviously been working hard. He moves over to the other side of his block just behind DeLosa. The problem here for Martens is when DeLosa gets over to that single buck, it's a solid discipline for him, and Martens is already well behind now that DeLosa's moved onto that single buck. Look how smooth he is with the start of that saw. Absolutely incredible skill there as Koen Martens moves over and joins him on single buck. Yeah, but the lead now really goes to Brad DeLosa now. Keep a close eye on what DeLosa's doing here. He was gingerly walking over to the standing block chop. He's relaxing through these hits now. He's got about 6 or 7 hits into that block and now moves over to the other side. So here's where he can save a bit of energy, but he knows that Koen Martens is going to be coming on strong to try and catch up with him, and spends all of his energy there.
There it is.
And there it is. The drops the block at 1:02.02, and he improves his time once again.
1:02.2. DeLosa, the favourite here, going through quite comfortably in the first quarterfinal heat against Martens, who, there it is, finishes with a time of 1:17.18.
Just a little bit of extra wood on the far side of that block that he wasn't reaching with the axe, and that was a difference maker right there. But a great job by Brad DeLosa to go on to the semifinals.
Again, we saw that tactics there, didn't we? I had the feeling, judging by his body language, and as you said, the speed from log to log, it seemed like he was conserving energy for the latter rounds.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, these guys are smart the way they do it. You know, they have to figure out who they're up against and where they can save some of that energy. And, you know, for Brad DeLosa, he knew that he didn't have to put as much effort into that single buck because he's strong on that discipline, and then he could take his time a little bit more with that standing block chop. It doesn't look like they're slowing down, but there is a little bit of change of the speed there, and if you're really paying attention, you can see it.
You saw the nice handshake between the two competitors as they were walking down to get the confirmation from the referee that DeLosa won that heat. They are competitors on stage, but they are also a very close-knit family off stage. You see them supporting and coaching each other and helping each other through it. But that was, let's be honest, that was a one-sided contest, wasn't it?
I don't want to say one-sided. It started off very evenly, but once Brad DeLosa made it to that single buck, he basically left Koen Martens well behind because he is so solid on the single buck and had about 5 to 6 strokes, I believe, on the standing block when he finally did move over to that last discipline. So, yeah, after he gets over to the single buck, there's really no catching up to him because he is such a master in this discipline.
We have got our first competitor in the semi-finals of the World Trophy 2022. His name is Brad DeLosa. There are 3 more spots in the semi-final. Who's going to join him there? As we see here, the last couple of shots, the highlights of the first quarterfinal. Martens will be pleased with his performance here. Getting to the quarterfinals is a strong stand for him.
It's definitely a strong stand. He's been around this sport for a long time. He knows what needs to be done. There are a couple of areas where, you know, he can make some improvements. Single buck for sure is one of them. And sometimes it's just about luck. You know, sometimes it's about the temperature of the air. It's about, you know, how tight your belt is, if your socks are too loose, you know?
It's about whether you go up against DeLosa in the quarterfinals, right? The second heat for the quarterfinals is Hansson from Sweden going up against Jack Jordan. I love the poses they do here for the crossed arms. They look absolutely terrifying, don't they?
So for me, Jack Jordan, I wouldn't call him a surprise, but having an under 1 minute time tells me that this guy is here to do some damage. So I'm going to reiterate a little bit my call for who might win this thing. Jack Jordan, the way he's performing could definitely be a guy that's going to be standing atop that podium, if not in one of the second or third spots.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing Jordan here because, I mean, he was comfortably the fastest in the round of 16, 58.07, a personal best for him. So that's the fastest he's ever
fastest by 4 seconds.
And fastest by 4 seconds here. So he's certainly set a standard here.
Okay, gentlemen.
Yeah, and he seems really relaxed about the whole situation. He doesn't seem like he's stressing out or anything like that. But that said, you know, if you go up to him, ask him if he was nervous or anything like that, he might tell you he was shaking in his boots, knowing the competition that's ahead of him, right? But yeah, from our standpoint, he looks well relaxed and well rested and good to go.
This is Heat 2 of the quarterfinals. This is Jordan in the black going up against Hanson in the yellow.
3,
Jack Jordan in the black with the deep stance, getting ready to get on that saw. Both he and Hanson get on the saw quickly. Jack Jordan looking very comfortable with that first cut, but it's Emil Hansen who gets over to the underhand chop first and starts that first set of drivers going into the front side of his block. Look at the speed of the axe by Jack Jordan though here, and this is going to be maybe the catch-up position for Jack Jordan. Hansen steps down. Oh no, that could be a big problem because he swung the axe with a foot on the ground, and that may be a DQ for Hansen. And if Jack Jordan doesn't get ahead of him, which it looks like he's doing now, he may be disqualified anyway. That's a big deal.
There, Hansen.
Yeah, but the big deal is if you slip and step off, you have to step back on before you swing that axe. And I believe I saw him swing the axe while he was having a foot on the ground. Ooh, big hook up by Jack Jordan, and it's back to an even Steven race here at the standing block chop. But Jack Jordan, a massive competitor in this discipline as well. He just has to stay on top of it, but I'm going to really be curious to see how this ends up. It's coming close to the line here as the Swede is swinging hard. Jack Jordan is coming close. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Jordan or Hanson. It's going to be Jordan. Oh my God! How close was that? Jordan, but just under a second faster. But wait a minute, let's see if there is a flag on the play because of that step down and swing. Oh, we got the heartbeat going. They're checking something here.
The referee reaches for his pocket. Yeah, I can confirm that the referees are conducting a check to see if there was an infraction here. Wow, I mean, that was just crazy close.
Yeah.
0.83 of a second. Yeah, okay, so the referees are going to go to a slow motion replay to check this. It is under review. And we need to confirm, help me here, we need to confirm whether his foot was on the ground as he struck a blow, right?
Correct. You have to have your feet on the block to swing the axe. It's a safety issue, and so they'll go down and they'll check their screens here, and that's what they're looking for to see if Hansen actually did swing while his foot was on the ground.
You see Dr. Jörg Kurzenberger there checking together with Andy Hall.
But I don't think that's the one.
Other.
I don't think that's the image, because the image that I was looking at was much earlier than that. And it was before he got to the final. Yeah, they're backing it up right now. You can see that. There it is. So here's the foot on the ground and the swing through. Oh, yes. He has to have both feet on that block. So that, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a disqualification for Emil Hansen.
They are showing this live on the big screen in the arena. There was an audible gasp from the crowd as we saw Hansen's foot there. I mean, the referees cannot get a closer look, can they? Look at the anguish on the Swedish fans' faces.
There, yeah.
This is tense. This is very tense.
Very tense.
Here we go. The referee's coming back onto the stage area, and we will get the announcement.
I feel like it's going to be a DQ for Hansen.
It feels like it,
terrible.
Doesn't it? It really does. Andy Hall, the referee, coming down to the front podium to give us the results of the video refereeing review.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have a disqualification
there it is.
for chopping the block with 1 foot on the floor. So the winner is Jack Jordan.
Jack Jordan taking the heat then in a time of 104.47. Hansen was actually 0.83 of a second slower anyway, but he would have loved to have taken that time home as opposed to those 2 letters D and Q, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, Jack Jordan, fair and square win on that one, so he doesn't have to feel bad about winning by virtue of a DQ, which is definitely the way to go. It's unfortunate for Emil Hansen. I mean, he would have lost the heat anyway, but having a foot on the ground and swinging the axe, that's a safety issue. They're not allowed to do that. And, you know, maybe we'll get a chance to see it here. It's just before the last couple of blows, or maybe I already talked my way past this section here, but he was just putting everything he had into it. And there you can see Jack already moving over to the single buck.
He also slipped a second time here, didn't he?
Yes,
I mean, this
he did.
wasn't an infringement,
No,
an
that
infraction.
wasn't.
Look
That
at
was
that.
okay.
As he was falling, took the last blow.
Yeah.
What was remarkable was that he was way behind
Yes.
by the time they got here, but he a huge catch-up.
Look at the grimace on Jack Jordan's face here as he absolutely works that single buck saw full length. You see the tip disappear into the block. And yeah, that was just a fantastic heat by both of these guys. Had Emil Hansen not put that foot down, would have been a really, really nice heat, no doubt about it. And Jack Jordan is becoming very quickly here this weekend a guy that we have to keep a very close eye on as a possible winner.
And then we see the referees in great detail finding out whether the foot was on the ground as that blow was taken. It just sums up here the accuracy and the precision at which these guys work. Okay, heat 3 in the quarterfinal. Who will be joining DeLoza and Jordan in the semi-final? This is Lentz against Svan. Both very close to 1 minute PBs, and we're getting down to the interesting part of the competition here. So these times are going to be close, aren't they?
I believe so. I mean, you know, Jason Lenz is an absolute master competitor. It's a family affair with him.
My co-commentator taking a very important mouthful of water here. It's not like you don't talk much, so you are absolutely welcome. Hopefully we can have Troy back after a slight cough in a moment, but he's coming back in a moment. Here he goes. This needs more than water. This needs a special cup with something. Our incredible commentator, Troy Mannering, even he needs to moisten the voice.
I think a fly flew in my mouth. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, huh?
It was one of the highlights of the event.
Yeah, that for sure.
We can see the Swedish fans there. It's good that they've still got a smile on their face, although
they do have Ferry Swan still in the competition.
That's a good point. They're sad that Hansen's gone out, but maybe they saw you swallow that fly and they were entertained by that.
Warm up your swords!
This is the third quarterfinal heat. This is Svan in yellow representing Sweden going up against Jason Lentz from the United States in red.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, slow start by Ferry Swan. Lentz going for a thin cookie up front. He's got the lead already, heading over to the underhand chop. Ferry Swan coming to catch up with him now. Watch the axe speed of Ferry Swan, though. Jason Lentz also quick with the axe today, too. Lentz over to the other side. Ferry Swan a stroke behind, now moving over to the other side. It's going to be interesting here between these two guys as they get coming down to that single buck. Lentz is over onto the single buck. Ferry Swan now moving over. He's got a bit of a disadvantage as Lentz is now moving the saw through. Very smooth, very clean, but here comes Ferry Swan. Looks like it might be close to catch up here. Oh boy, it's going to be tough for Ferry Swan. This is Lentz's discipline here as we go to standing block chop. He's in it. He's in it to win it. Ferry Swan struggling to try and catch up. Lentz is moving over to the other side. Ferry Swan now moving over to the other side. It may be close, but Lentz is such a big, strong man. This is absolutely his decision, and it's his to take home. And Jason Lentz is under a minute. Ferry Swan has just beaten his personal best as well at 1:01:04.
Look at that. Two personal bests, but Lentz pips it under 1 minute, 58.
Jason Lentz relentless today.
I mean, we're just seeing the times getting faster and faster, and they seem to be pushing each other, right?
Yes.
Ferry Swan pulls out a personal best, and it's still not good enough to go through to the semi-finals because his opponent in the same heat, Jason Lentz from America, also smashes his personal best, 58.49.
That's two guys under a minute today.
Yeah, that is the second fastest time we've seen today. Yeah, they are definitely getting faster. Just the confirmation here that there were no infractions.
Okay, the winner is Jason
There
Lentz.
it is. Lentz 58.49 with his personal best.
Great job.
That's
Great job.
That is setting a statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that's saying, I'm coming into the semi-finals sub 1 minute, everyone. How do you feel about that?
We need to make him some shirts that say "Relensless."
Oh, that is definitely the worst joke of the evening.
Absolutely,
there.
I take it
Congrats,
back.
you go straight to the semi-finals of bad jokes for that one. Let's see, Ferry Svan. You've got to feel for him because a 1 minute .92 performance, that is top work, isn't it? And he still wasn't good enough, unfortunately, for the semi-final.
The problem for him here, he's very good with the stock saw, but he reached down and grabbed the brake handle instead of the grip, and so he had to reposition his hand for the grip. That's why he was slow on the saw.
Vital tenths of a second, right?
Absolutely, and that would have maybe been a difference maker for him getting to that single buck a little bit faster after the underhand chop. But
Lentz, was ahead after the first discipline, and even that trot across the stage, does that go into the mind of the other competitor? I can see his back, I can see him already going to the next log. Is that going to make some kind of effect?
I think these guys have tunnel vision more often than not. They're not really paying attention to what the other competitor's doing, but out of the corner of their eye,
you're probably seeing that flash of color,
you can see
aren't
the
you?
guy moving, and you know from your own position that if you're moving in a certain way that you're going to the next discipline. So yeah, you know, you had to know that Ferry Svan was thinking about that. And Jason Lentz, what a great effort by the big man from the States.
So we saw those Swedish fans in the crowd earlier. Unfortunately, both of their competitors are now out. We've got one place left in the semi-final, and that'll either go to Marcel Dupuis from Canada or Mikael Dubicki.
Two MDs on stage.
We all love MDs, don't we? So they set themselves up here. We see Dupuis just making sure that everything's in exactly the right position. I was watching them in training. It goes down to the final centimetre of how high they want it, exactly where their axe is positioned so that they don't have to break their stride as they go past. The precision and the organisation that went into it, really remarkable to see.
Yeah, I mean, they're so practiced at each of these disciplines. They know which position they want to have their stock saw in, what the angle of their single buck needs to be so that they can grab and pull and get it started right away. You could see Mikael Dubicki there cleaning out some of the dust and cut pieces so that he's got nothing, absolutely nothing in his mind that's in the way.
I really liked Dubicki's Instagram tag there, Axe Machine. That is nominative determinism right there, isn't it?
That is absolutely true. What was that again? Nominative determinism?
Yeah, baby.
Mr. Dictionary face over here.
Yeah, that is his name describing him. What are we going to get here in the last quarterfinal? Canada Dupuis going up against Dubicki from Poland. They're already off.
Great start by Dubicki. He was quick on that saw. He's through fast, moving over to the underhand chop. Now watch, again, how quick Dubicki moves that axe. Marcel Dupuis going for those really accurate shots, but he's a bit too much power in there as he gets it in deep. Both of them moving over to the other side of their blocks now as Dubicki has a slight lead over Marcel Dupuis. Marcel Dupuis looking good, though, as he's got a little bit of a pause there, and 1-2 more drivers to get through and move him over to the single buck. Left Dubicki with a massive lead now, halfway through his cookie on the single buck, and Marcel Dupuis finally joins him, but it's a massive lead now. And here, watch Dubicki. He'll slow it down a bit as he knows that he's got a good lead on Marcel Dupuis, but he doesn't want to give him too much room and slow it down too much, but he knows he needs to save some energy for the next round. That being said, he needs to get through this round here first, but it looks good for Mikael Dubicki as he's getting close to taking that thing off the top of it. Marcel Dupuis, oh yeah, it's going to be one more driver for Dubicki. There you go. And he is done. Marcel Dupuis looking for a final few drivers to get that block done and dusted. But Marcel Dupuis will not be joining us in the next round at the semifinals. Too bad for the Canadian man, and that was a very slow time for him, as I guess he just put too much into the earlier rounds.
And the semi-final places stand. We have got our competitors in the semi-final. It'll be DeLoza, Jordan, Lentz, and Dubicki, 4 of the top 5 times that we've seen today have come in the quarterfinals. I mean, the times are just getting faster and faster.
They are getting faster and faster, and again, Jack Jordan for me is the guy to keep a real close eye on. He has been absolutely incredible today.
So just waiting for the final confirmation here. The handshake, the gesture of fair play there between the two athletes.
Qualification for throwing the chainsaw
And here,
after the stop saw.
I think we might have missed this.
So the winner is Mikhail Dubicki.
The confirmation that Dupuis sadly got a DQ. We're going to have to go back and check exactly what happened there, but Dubicki certainly with a time of 1:08.47 qualifies for the semi-final.
It's about the saw here, so they're saying that Marcel Dupuis threw the saw, so we'll have to keep a close eye here. If we get that picture in the slow-mo, let's see. So here we see Marcel Dupuis coming down to the bottom of his cut. This is an important thing here.
There it is.
Yeah.
You see the saw just slide across the surface there, don't you?
It's ever so slight. That's a matter of, that's literally a finicky decision by the judges. It didn't really throw it, but what happened is the saw moved onto its side. So, yeah, that's a problem. The saw has to stay flat.
Yeah, the rule there, of course, is that the saw has to stay flat because you don't want a saw flying across the stage, do you? That's a safety issue. Do you think he knew it at that stage? Do you think after he's dropped it, because you can see there it's a couple of feet away from him, do you think that's on his mind as he's going through the rest of the event?
No, I don't think so. I think what happened there is it was just he wanted to place it down, but was a little bit too aggressive with it, and he was not paying attention. By the time it slid away and fell over on the side, he was already on his way over to the underhand chop. So I don't think that he realized that's what happened, and that's really often it's just a small mistake, you know. It's like what we saw in Australia a while back.
I was going to say, I mean, that affected the qualification for this tournament, right?
Genau, exactly. Somebody threw their headphones across in front of the other competitors, so that was a DQ for him, even though he had won the heat.
So here we can see the competitors that qualify for the semi-final. From quarterfinal 1, it was DeLoza who will go up against Jordan in semi-final 2, and I beg your pardon, semi-final 1, and semi-final 2 will be made up from Lentz versus Dubicki. We talked about Lentz beforehand. We talked about DeLoza beforehand. Those two don't surprise me that they're in the semi-final, but Dubicki maybe, I think he's got to be happy to have made it to the semi-final at least, hasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. Dubicki's been working hard in these disciplines to make sure that he's really on par with the rest of the world, and now we'll really find out how he stacks up against a guy like Jason Lentz, who we've seen go under a minute today. So a really great performance by Jason Lentz, but Dubicki is coming on strong, and he seems to get stronger the longer these events go. Even though he's a big man with a lot of muscle mass, he does a lot of fitness training in the off-season in order to have that endurance, that flexibility, and that muscle endurance, which is so important here.
So Lentz, 58.49 in the quarterfinals. That's the time to beat now, isn't it?
That's the time to beat, but let's not forget Jack Jordan from New Zealand also had a sub 1 minute time, so it's very possible we see Jack Jordan going up against Lentz in the final, because Jack Jordan or Brad DeLoza are gonna, it's a heat against these two guys. One of them is going to move on to the next round.
Well, this is it. We can only take one of them with us to the final, right?
Correct.
So a favourite is going to go out here.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. What about Jack Jordan? He's had a good day. 1:04 in the quarterfinals. He's got to be one of the competitors in the final, certainly. What we can do here is we can do another split screen and compare.
Yeah, let's take a look and see.
Let's go to that and compare the techniques one against each other. Here we go.
So there you see Jason Lentz on the left-hand side, Ferry Swan struggling a little bit on the right-hand side to get a grip on his saw, and that was really that just that short time. You see
Short
both of them
stumble there from Ferry
place,
Swan,
yeah,
right?
exactly, and you see how they place their saws. They're sitting flat up.
But
and,
look at the speed of the axe movement.
Yeah,
Swan.
I mean, both of these guys are really, really solid competitors, and Swan at this point was only about one stroke behind Lentz as they moved over to the other side of the block, but Lentz is just so good with the axe in hand, and he broke through about 3 strokes ahead of Swan as he moved over to the single buck, and once Lentz got that thing going, it was really tough for Swan to catch up, even though Swan looked like he was getting close. I mean, he really did a great job on the single buck. He's so good that he was about a full saw length stroke behind when he came to the standing block chop, and that's the difference right there. That half or full saw length difference is the time difference that was for him to get through that block. Jason Lenz, I mean.
For those of you joining us here at the World Trophy 2022, scenes here in the quarterfinals that brings us to the semi-final. Delorza, Jordan, Lentz, Dubicki will make up the semi-finals here. I can also imagine that some of those 4 names will probably be in Gothenburg at the World Championships in October, right?
I think you can expect that all 4 of those guys will be there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
28th, 29th of October, Gothenburg in Sweden, the World Team and Individual Championships will be there. We hope that you'll be there as well. There are tickets still available. As we see here, some wonderful scenes from the fans in the Rathausplatz here in Vienna, Austria. They've had a great day. We've had a great weekend.
Yes, and it's not over yet.
It's not over, but the reason maybe for the viewer to understand why it comes back to us two mugshots here in the studio talking, it's because our incredible colleagues on the stage have to rebuild and reset up every time. Yeah. These are incredibly heavy articles, and it has to be in the right place. It all has to be absolutely correct. That takes a couple of minutes, and so that's why you can hear the shenanigans going on in the arena behind.
It's a little bit like a Formula One pit crew, and over the years, these guys have really gotten it down to an art where, you know, it used to take about 7 to 10 minutes to reset the stage for an event. Now they can do it in about 2 to 3. So you really have to give props to these guys that are taking that time to really set the stage up and get it ready for us in the next competition.
As you finish that sentence, I get the announcement in my ear saying that the athletes are coming on the stage. That is a great sign and confirmation of how quick the team are on the stage. So we are ready for the first semi-final of the World Trophy 2022. Let's take a look at the competitors in the first heat. Here it is, heat number 1 in the semi-finals. It is the favorite, Brad Delorza, going up against Jack Jordan. 2 Antipodeans going up against each other. There will be no love lost here, will there?
Nope, not at all. But you know what? Delorza, he looks relaxed. He looks calm, collected. He's done this so many times. He knows exactly what he needs to do. And he is the absolute competitor when it comes to timber sports.
We were talking very briefly earlier about that that incident in Australia that in fact helped Delorza get here,
Correct,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was in the heat, and the competitor on the other side, who shall remain nameless, threw the headphones accidentally on purpose. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I can't imagine that he did it on purpose, but the fact of the matter is that the headphones crossed the running line of Brad Delorza as he went from the stock saw over to the underhand chop. The judges had a long discussion about that, and the determination was made that there would be a DQ, and therefore, after the heat was done, which Brad Delorza actually came in second, the DQ then in fact gave Brad Delorza the opportunity to be here for this World Trophy.
So that got Brad Delorza here. His qualification time got him to the top of the table, which allowed him to get a bye straight into the quarterfinals. He's then put down some strong times in the quarterfinal, or sorry, a strong time in the quarterfinal, which gets him here to the semi-final against Jack Jordan. It is down to just 4. We can only have 1 winner.
Delorza a little bit quicker to get that saw in place, and it's a nice clean cut so far for Delorza as he gets through it quickly, places the saw down, but Jack Jordan not that far behind him, about a stroke and a half as they move to the underhand chop here. Delorza, you can see his cut's very narrow in the front, and now he's going for a wider cut on the backside as both of them move over to the other side of their block pretty much at the same time. Jack Jordan doing a great job to keep up, and now, just a little piece that needs to be broken away for Jack Jordan as he saw that there was still some wood left and needed to make that cutaway. And now Delorza, in a discipline where he's absolutely the master, gets that cookie down after the single buck, and Jack Jordan is struggling and now finally gets it done. But Jack Jordan has been so solid on the chopping disciplines. Let's see if he can catch up to Brad Delorza and perhaps even surpass him to move on to the final. Delorza onto the other side of his block now. Jack Jordan working hard on his. Who's going to be the winner of this one? Is going to be Jack Jordan or Brad Delorza? Delorza's coming close to finishing it off. Jack Jordan's looking like he's got it. Jack Jordan's done it. Jack Jordan beat Delorza. Delorza is not a happy camper there. Jack Jordan has beaten the master. Here. New Zealand has taken down Australia here in Austria at the Rathausplatz. What an incredible comeback for Jack Jordan. absolutely killer instinct by the young man from New Zealand. Amazing.
That is a massive shock there. The favourite Delosa going out in the semi-finals. He knew it, didn't he? The last couple of blows, you could see he knew it. It just wasn't enough.
I mean, Jack Jordan has been fantastic with the axe in hand all day long. Absolutely amazing. You know, he's done a great job. And Delosa, he is the master. He is the killer driller, but it just didn't work out for him this time, and you could see the disappointment there by Brad Delosa. It's a long delay on stage. There's some discussion going on here, so I'm not sure what's happening, but it looks like now we've got a decision, so Andy Hall is leading the guys down to the decision stage, and we will now find out what's up. But I think it's going to be Jack Jordan's heat.
And the winner is Jack Jordan.
Oh, there you go. A great effort by Brad Delosa, and an even greater effort by Jack Jordan to move on to the final.
That's what they're all competing for. That is the World Trophy 2022. We just saw it there. And I've got to be honest, I'm still recovering from this.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, look at this first cut by, well, okay, now they've taken it away from us, but Brad Delosa was very, very good with that
He's
stop.
miles ahead at this stage.
Yeah,
Look at
miles ahead. And this is a discipline where he's absolutely strong, and he's got 3-4 strokes in before Jordan gets that saw started. For Jordan, it was really all about the standing block chop. He's been so good with the axe all day long. I think Armin will agree with us on this, that once he got that axe moving on the standing block chop, there was just no holding back this young man. I mean, look at those drivers going into that block. Absolutely fantastic
huge
effort.
chunk came out there.
Big slabs coming off of that block, and he moved over to the other side. I mean, Delosa was ahead of him here on the other side of his standing block chop, but there was just a little bit too much hanging on there for Delosa, and these last couple of drivers by Jack were just absolutely fantastic. Watch, you could see it coming loose, and it was just that one little extra driver for Jack Jordan, and Delosa had to take two to get there. Great effort by both of these guys. Absolutely fantastic competitors.
Beautiful stuff in the first semi-final here. We're going to go to the second semi-final, Heat 2, which is Jason Lentz from the United States going up against Dubicki from Poland. Are we going to see another shock here? Surely not.
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, Dubicki's been solid, but Jason is the guy that's gotten under a minute and seems to be getting stronger from round to round, so that remains to be seen. Getting everything prepared on stage. Lentz likes his axe on the other side there. Got to have it just right.
Jack Jordan in the final. Will it be Lentz or will it be Dubicki? Any fans from the United States of America in the house?
There's a few fans from the U.S. in the audience, as we can hear it in the background with Floaty getting the audience pumped up for this second heat in the semi-final. It's a little bit of a nervous look on Dubicki's face. He knows he's up against a big competitor in
He didn't look like an axe machine just then, did he? He looked like, yeah, there were certain nerves. But listen, nerves are to be expected at this stage. This is the semi-final of the World Trophy. This
okay, gentlemen.
Last couple of motivating slaps there. All part of that mental routine that the athletes go through. They each have their own routine. They each have their steps that they take to try and get themselves into the best possible condition. Very important here. Both hands must be on the log as the discipline starts.
Stand to your timber.
So it's the second and last semi-final. Lentz up against Dubicki. Here we go.
Great start by both of these guys. Looks like Jason Lentz has got a good cut here. Dubicki and Lentz both leaving that station at the same time. Dubicki's cookie went for a roll, a bit of a tour there. And now look at them both on the block. Dubicki looking very good here on the underhand chop as he moves over to the other side, about a stroke and a half ahead of Jason Lentz. Dubicki is so solid in this discipline. If he can hold off the big man from the USA, oh, he gets a bit of a stick there as Jason Lentz is working well to get that done. And now they both move over to the single buck at the same time. It could be close. Lentz has a bit of a hookup as he gets started. Oh, and another hookup for Lentz. And that gives the advantage to Dubicki, but Lentz is very good with the single buck as he gets going. Big long strokes from the big man from the USA. Oh, wow! Dead even drop for both of those cookies as they move to the standing block chop. And as we've seen all day long, Lentz is this discipline's master blaster. Dubicki doing a great job. Both of them moving over to the other side. This could be the closest heat of the day as the time is just passing 1 minute. Both of these guys looking a bit tired here, but it's going to be Lentz. Lentz is going to get through just past Dubicki, about 3 strokes back. And Dubicki can't believe it. That thing is just hanging on by a thread. And they are spent. They are spent. Dubicki catching a bit of air as he leans on his axe on the log. And Lentz doesn't look worse for the wear, to be quite honest with you. A couple of big huffs from him as he wins this heat just by about 2 strokes. Unbelievable.
He is absolutely done. Look at him. He's got a final coming up.
Yeah.
Bless him.
One more to go, and he's got to be all in for that last one. Unbelievable.
Wow, another incredibly close one.
So the
Dubicki
two guys
pushed him all the way, didn't he?
Yeah, he absolutely pushed him the whole way. There was no stopping Dubicki, but 2 guys that both managed to get under 1 minute here today will be against each other in the final. An incredible turn of events. Jack Jordan will be going up against Jason Lentz in the final here at the World Trophy 2022 in Vienna, Austria. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing stuff.
Okay,
you can see
the winner is
dusk is setting in.
Jason
It's
Lentz.
getting to that key part of the evening. And there he is, hand in the air, leaving the stage. Fist pumped. Lentz for America will join Jordan in the final. Lovely scenes here as Dubicki says goodbye at a semi-final stage. I'm sure he's absolutely delighted about that. And there we see the trophy. That is what it's all about.
So here we see the slow-mo replays. That's a great cut by Dubicki. He was just right on with him. And these guys were absolutely together. And there it is. There's the break by Lentz, and it's just a slight bit ahead of Dubicki, but there was a couple of hookups by Lentz because he knows Dubicki's in the background working hard to try and catch up with him. And Dubicki absolutely putting everything he's got. Look at the effort on his face as he draws and pushes that single buck back and forth to get that cookie on the ground. And both of those cookies from these guys dropped at more or less exactly the same time. There you see the hands of Jason Lentz, the big man from the USA, I believe. No, that's Dubicki, excuse me. And both of them head to the standing block chop. Dead even at this point, but it's Lentz who is so strong in this discipline, just ahead of Dubicki by about 2 strokes.
The width of the stance there, great view, which really shows the amount of all-body precision that goes into that.
And really quickly, look at that. He took a quick look over to Dubicki because he wasn't sure. He didn't know if Dubicki was ahead of him or not. But look at, just hanging on by a thread for Dubicki, that last driver.
It was close. It really was close. So there it is, the confirmation. We have the 2 finalists, Jordan versus Lentz. That means that Delosa and Dubicki will go into the 3rd place playoff and see who takes that last place on the podium. We have a couple of minutes to kill now while they A, rebuild the set, and B, give the athletes, bless them, a little chance to have a breather, right? Particularly the small final competitors there. Dubicki has just come out of the semi-final, so he's going to get a couple of minutes. So we've got a very special guest here in the studio. I am joined by local hero Armin Kugler here. We're now in the round of 16 today, unfortunately, but I thought it might be nice if Armin could kind of talk us through what we've just seen. So he's going to do it in German and I'll do my best to translate that. Also Armin, wir werden gleich so einen Splitscreen sehen, wo wir die 2 Athleten sehen. Vielleicht kannst du uns sagen, was du gerade gesehen hast und was vor allem beeindruckend war. If we could see the clip here, he's looking forward to it, he says. So, okay, we're going to see the clip in a moment. Erstmal zu dir, mein Freund. Wie bist du mit deiner Leistung hier diese Woche zufrieden?
Naja, mit dem Time Trial war ich sehr gut zufrieden. Die 1:17, das war okay für mich. Ja, im Knockout-System mit der Zeit war ich leider gar nicht zufrieden. Da ging am Underhand alles schief. Und irgendwann muss man es dann einsehen während dem Heat, dass es keinen Sinn mehr macht.
Well, he says that he was really happy with his time trial time, which was sub 120. Wasn't as happy when it went into the main performance, but he said he's competing against quite a field here, so that's to be expected. Bist du überrascht, wer jetzt im Finale steht? Hättest du die vor dem Turnier getippt?
Eigentlich bin ich nicht überrascht. Das sind schon die Favoriten. Es war ja schon sehr, sehr, sehr knapp für den Neuseeländer zwischendurch und habe das Gefühl, er ist da so richtig erwacht.
He says that he's not surprised at all to see the two gentlemen in the final. He said that they were favourites before he started. Und vielleicht als letzter Wort zu dem Publikum hier. Wie ist es hier in deinem Hometown zu spielen, hier vor dem Wien-Publikum hier?
Ja, das Publikum ist ein absoluter Wahnsinn. Das ist einfach nur genial und schade, dass ich nicht länger dabei sein konnte.
I asked him what he thought of the local crowd here, and he said obviously it's an absolute dream to be able to perform in front of his landspeople here. So maybe now we can see the clip of the two finalists going up against each other, and Armin will comment on it. Here we go, here it comes. Okay, was siehst du hier? What do you see here then?
Yeah, die haben eine kleine Unterschied in der Technik bei der Stocksaw am Ansetzen. Die geht höher hoch.
They both have a different technique in the stocksaw, he said, and then here we see, was sehen wir hier?
Wo?
Was siehst du hier? Was kannst du von der Technik
beide
sagen?
sind extrem stark am Underhand. Sie sind sehr gleich.
Both very strong in underhand, very similar, he says. So Jack came in slightly ahead. Und dann zum dritten Disziplin.
Ja, Singleback. Neuseeländer hat eine höhere Frequenz.
He says that the New Zealander, that's Jordan, has a higher frequency, and then on to the final discipline.
Ja, New Zealander ist in Front. Der ist ein bisschen sehr stark geschlagen. Er ist einfach extrem stark am Standing.
Yeah, he says that Jack Jordan just has an incredibly powerful stance, and that's clearly what took him over the edge here. Armin Kugler, many, many thanks for your time. Vielen lieben Dank. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, dass du hier vor dem Rathaus, vor deinem Publikum performen dürftest. Alles Gute für dich weiterhin. Armin, many thanks.
Danke. Ciao.
Danke. Beautiful, thank you, sir. You can leave your headphones here. Lovely applause there for Armin from his hometown crowd. That sounds fantastic. Okay, dear Troy.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
You've joined me back in the studio here. This is a passionate sport, there's no doubt about that. But it's not a new sport, it's been around for quite a while, hasn't it?
Millions of years, it's amazing. It's the original extreme sport.
Let's check out Timber Sports, the original team sport. And you know what? You know what gets me every time? I mean, the crowd are absolutely going crazy here. And it's not for the free T-shirts. They just love it. It's just that energy, that dynamism from STIHL Timbersports, right? It gets me every time.
Well, there are no fans, really, that are better than STIHL Timbersports fans. And even people that are walking by, in this particular instance here in Vienna, they're coming in and they're being absolutely blown away by the atmosphere that's here just in this event. And, you know, that's one of the things that we can be really proud of. The passion of the fans, the atmosphere, it's just amazing in STIHL Timbersports, no matter where we go in the world.
Passion, atmosphere, that's what Timbersports is all about.
It comes down to Mitch Argent and Shane Jordan battling hard on the standing block. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Australia or New Zealand? Oh my God, how close is this? And it's Australia!
The atmosphere last night and the team's relay was unreal.
That is their title of Team World Champion 2 years in a row.
Oh, definitely. It'd be the noisiest crowd I've competed against.
Shane Jordan's already over there.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of getting goosebumps thinking about it right now.
The crowds here, they were just erupting.
You feel the energy of the crowd.
My goodness, what a great comeback from Belgium with a time of 1.
The crowd was absolutely electric.
And it was so much noise and support.
Ja, doch, das pusht schon rum und mein Fanclub ist auch da.
Very passionate about their country and, yeah, their competitors.
Yeah, it feels super.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
pretty awesome to compete in front of a crowd like this.
But he's not giving up. He's looking good.
Like such an adrenaline rush. It's an amazing feeling.
They make a lot of noise, and that's good for our spirit. Is it going to be the checker building? And the crowd goes bananas. It's absolutely extrem hier. Man hört's.
And welcome back here to the Rathausplatz in Vienna, Austria. If you're just tuning in, where the heck have you been? This is the World Trophy 2022, and we are up to the final and third place playoff stage.
Yep.
The crowd behind us are going absolutely crazy. We have seen some utterly ridiculous performances here. It's just passion pure. You've got to experience this for yourself. If you haven't been to a timber sports event, you have got to do that. And now that we can have these sporting events again, we can kick off with our schedule, which maybe the highlight of which will be Gothenburg in October, right?
The individual world championships in Gothenburg. Get your tickets now. We'll be there. Hopefully you will too.
This is kind of what it's going to be like. Get your tickets now. That is the key message there, certainly. We hope to see you at the World Championships. So, we've got the third place playoff, the so-called small final. That will be between Brad Delosa and Mikkel Dubicki. Bless him, Dubicki. I mean, it feels like just a couple of seconds ago he was on the stage battering the wood off the stage.
Same feeling here for me. I mean, you know, the poor guy just had to battle against Jason Lenz,
Yeah.
and he gave it everything he had. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough for a spot in the final, but he'll be going up against the legend Brad Delosa for a third place position here. So that third spot on the steps will be up for grabs in this heat between Mikkel Dubicki and Brad Delosa.
And that's the point. I mean, this is not just some kind of token second final. They're playing for something. They're playing for the honor of being able to say, I finished third in the World Trophy 2022. Yes. Yeah. I mean, his reward, Dubicki's reward, he's just gone through an absolute bloodbath. And his reward is that he gets to go up here against Delosa.
Yeah,
the crowd will love it. Look at this absolute scenes here in Vienna.
The fan stands, they're calling them back there, just completely chock-a-block.
You know what I love? It doesn't matter what nationality the competitors are. Every flag is out there waving. They just love it. The timber sports fans.
You got a French flag, a Czech flag waving in the background there. That's
supporting
awesome.
an Australian. It's just beautiful, isn't it? We're all children of the earth, aren't we, at the end of the day? So, this is the third place playoff, the so-called small final. Poland versus Australia.
Here we go.
Delosa versus Dubicki.
Go!
Delosa's been so quick with that stock saw today. He's just smooth as silk with that thing. So good as they both move over to the underhand chop now. Ahead of Dubicki. Dubicki having problems getting through that block and goes over to the single buck now. And keep an eye on Dubicki. He'll start with a couple of short choppy cuts and then go in for those long power strokes. But we know that Delosa is so strong with that single buck, and now he moves over to the standing block chop. A little bit of a pause by Dubicki there. That's going to cost him some time getting over to the standing block chop leisurely. He moves over and starts working on the block, but both of these guys have to be absolutely gutted, exhausted after a full day of competition like this. They've been at it for several hours, plus warm-ups and qualifications. And now Dubicki moving over to the other side, but the distinct advantage goes to Delosa here, as he is just doing his absolute utter best to get that thing off. And he does it. Delosa's got third place on the podium. What a great job. And Dubicki is absolutely wasted. He has zero energy left, just enough for one more hit, and he is thanking the heavens that this is over.
Wow, I mean, I can almost feel how exhausted they are.
Yeah.
They look totally
It's making
done.
me tired watching these guys struggle through those blocks. It's incredible. You have to give them absolute props because of the day that they've had. I mentioned it during the commentary, but boy, these guys are legends, and they are just warriors for fighting through this right to the very bitter end.
If anyone even thinks of saying anything ridiculous like this is not a tough sport, I mean, just watch that. Do that 4 times in the space of just over an hour.
Yeah, they'll
I
get their
invite
ears
you.
boxed by these boys, and then nobody wants that.
Wow, terrific, absolutely
Okay,
brilliant
the winner is
third place playoff there
Brad DeLosa.
between DeLosa and Dubicki, but there can only be one that wins it. That is Brad DeLosa in a time of 107.28. That is still quite a special time, let's be honest, considering that's the 4th time he's done that this evening.
Yeah.
You know,
And I mean, DeLosa will have 3rd place on the podium today. It's a great result for him. Not the result he was hoping for, but it's still very, very good. And yet again, another podium for DeLosa, the Australian, who's got, he's got to build a new house to hold the trophies that he's got.
You said that he was good with the saw all night.
Yeah, he is really, really quick and really, really smooth with that stock saw. He just knows that instrument inside and out. He knows how much pressure to put on. And, you know, the whole night long, he was very smooth with it. I don't think he made one mistake. And, of course, the single buck is absolutely his discipline. He needed to depend on a good stock saw and a solid single buck to make sure that he was in the right position when it came to the 2 chopping disciplines.
You can see, I know it is a slow motion clip, but you can see that they are starting to slow down. Right?
Oh yeah, and Dubicki, you could see he was just really out of power. He had put everything, his heart and soul into that, and those last few drivers on the other side of his block, he was just spent.
He decided not to go back to a lower blow there, DeRosa. Stayed at the top, felt that he was close, and that the last decisive swing would finish it off. And look at that gasp of almost relief that it's over, you know?
Yeah, that was like the thank my daddy's parents in heaven that it's done. I mean, really, it's just crazy.
And congratulations as well to Dubicki. Looks to the heavens, raises his arms. High five, lovely connection there between the athletes. They're both done, but DeLosa will take home the 3rd place today. And we can hopefully speak to DeLosa. He is with our roving reporter, Florty, in the arena. Can you hear us, Florty? And how is Brad? How's he feeling?
Brad is standing right next to me. Congratulations for claiming bronze. Great performance. But to be honest, I was expecting you to be pumping a little more. You seem quite relaxed. You still got some endurance and power in you.
Yeah, I feel pretty good actually. Pretty disappointed not to get through to the final. I sort of did enough in that last race to get there, but just the last couple of hits let me down a little bit. So, yeah, very disappointed not to have another crack at the gold. But you know, sometimes things don't work out how you want it to be. So, I'll have to settle for bronze this time.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll be back. You were so close to getting to that final. The crowd loved you. How did it feel to perform here in Vienna?
Yeah, look, it's certainly a great city. You know, I've really enjoyed having a look around here. Beautiful place here in Vienna. So, thanks very much to the crowd for putting on a great show. You know, it's really, really good to perform in front of a big crowd like that. Also, I'd like to thank my family, wife and kids and that back home. They do a lot to help me and prepare and give me the time to do it. Also, a few other guys from Australia. Terry, Mick and Kip for coming over, and Damo for caddying for him, and all the Australian team, you know. They put in a lot of effort, and it was great to get Jack over the line last night also.
So Brad, you're an amazing athlete. You're a role model to everyone watching, and it's always great to have you here. And hopefully see you back soon in Vienna. Thanks so much. Bronze medalist.
Thank you.
Brad DeLosa. What a performer.
What a performer is right. Cracking interview there, Florty. How wonderful to hear Brad, congratulating his fellow Australian for winning the rookies yesterday. He's just taken 3rd place, but he's thinking of his country. He's thinking of his teammates.
Yeah, you could see the disappointment because he's a competitor. He always wants to win. You could see the disappointment was there. But also there's a bit of satisfaction in knowing that there's a crop of young Australian athletes that are coming up, like Jack Argent, who we saw yesterday absolutely terrorize the field and take the rookie world championship title. So that was a fantastic result there. And I mean, 2 guys on the podium for Australia here in Vienna this weekend. That's not a bad result all in all.
It's a pretty good weekend for Australia. As we see the 2 finalists coming onto the stage, there they are, our 2 finalists for today.
This is what we've been waiting for all day long today. Jack Jordan heading over onto stand number 1. Jason Lenz moving over onto stand number 2. Will take those time to prepare and get themselves ready and place everything where they need it to be.
Almost identical personal bests, 58 and change for both of them. So with the support of the crowd here, anything could happen here.
Yes, anything can happen here. I'm going to throw a little bit of a Hail Mary here and say that Jack Jordan's going to take this one. He's just a little bit stronger on the underhand chop, and he looked great with the single buck. I mean, that's what New Zealand is known for. That single buck is so strong for the Aussies and the Kiwis. And Jason Lenz is absolutely solid on the single buck, but I think where Jason really outperforms most of the other athletes is on that standing block chop. So, yeah, I mean, you know, there's highs and lows for both of these guys in this one. It's about as evenly matched as you can get, and that's what's happened here coming to this event. You've got 2 guys that deserve to be in the final by virtue of how they performed all day long.
I was going to say, that's the point. I mean, the competition tree doesn't lie, right? You don't get here by luck, do you?
No,
this is talent, this is performance. That's what's put these 2 gentlemen here. So here it is. This is what the whole weekend of preparation has been for. This is the World Trophy 2022 final.
Athletes,
and it is
ready.
Jack Jordan going up against Jason Lenz.
Gonna watch this one live through the window. A better view here. Great start by both of them. 2 different styles position-wise for that stock saw. Jason Lenz looks like he got through there just a hair faster. Jack Jordan moving over to the underhand chop, about a stroke behind Jason Lenz now on the underhand, but Jack Jordan's been really good on the chopping disciplines all day long today. Let's see if he can make a difference here against Jason Lenz on the right-hand side of the stage. Jack Jordan looking good. Jason Lenz getting close. Jack Jordan's through, moving over to the single buck. About 2-3 strokes ahead of Jason Lenz, but he gets a big hook up on the single buck. And Jordan is now moving on to that single buck with good flow. And so is Jason Lenz. Jason Lenz absolutely relentless. Jack Jordan gets to the standing block chop just ahead of Jason. Jason knows he's got to really work hard here. And this is the advantage for Lenz now on that standing block. But Jack Jordan's moved over to the other side ahead of Jason Lenz. It's going to be Jack Jordan taking this one down today. It's going to be a close one. And it's going so quickly here for Jack Jordan. Jason Lenz coming hard from the back end. One more driver. And it's going to be Jack Jordan! He is your new champion in the trophy format! Unbelievable, fantastic event by the Kiwi! Oh boy! Did they ever put everything out there on the field? And look at that. I think those might be a little bit of a smile and some tears of joy from Jack Jordan. What an unbelievable effort by that young man. Jason Lenz, what a great job by the big American. He was so solid today. He is gutted in second place. Oh, unbelievable.
Wow, I am absolutely breathless here.
Yeah.
If you
What a
ever
great
get the
heat.
chance to see some Timber Sports live in the stadium, you have got to take it. The energy here is absolutely palpable. And there he is, fists and fingers aloft. The 2020 World Trophy winner, Jack Jordan, cannot take the smile off his face.
No way. What a fantastic effort. And I mean, Jack Jordan knew he had a competitor in Jason Lenz on the other side of that stage. He saved just enough energy to be able to take down the big man. And I mean, it was anybody's guess out there. It was so close.
It was so close, but look at the body language. That tells it all for you, doesn't it? Bless him, Lenz. Slow motion almost down to the to the circular stage here with a spring in his step. The winner, Jack Jordan.
Okay.
Hands on his hips.
And the winner is
teeth showing with a
Jack
huge smile.
Jordan.
There it is as the referee's hand goes up. His hands go into the air to celebrate this huge win in front of this fantastic crowd in Vienna.
Yeah, by the time we got to the end of the show today, it's nuts to butts out there and nobody cares. It's all good fun. But Jack Jordan, what an amazing result for the man from New Zealand.
Wow. Soaking it up here, taking in the photos, the paparazzi taking the photos here. And he's celebrating. Oh, look at this. You don't get signatures on shirts here at Timber Sports. You get signatures on chainsaws. This is STIHL Timber Sports, and that is the winner of the World Trophy 2020, Jack Jordan.
Amazing.
How fantastic. Spider-Man's going to be absolutely delighted with that, isn't he?
Yeah, Spider-Man's going to give up his job as a superhero and start into timber sports. It's way better anyway.
He's got a superhero right in front of him here, hasn't he? This is the superhero from New Zealand. Soaking up the moment. Wow. I mean, we talked about some favourites at the beginning of the day. We talked about Svan. We talked about De Rosa, of course. I don't think the name Jordan was in that conversation at the beginning of the evening.
It honestly wasn't, because for me, he was an unknown, other than the fact that he took down some of the legendary characters in New Zealand to make it and qualify for this event. So well, that should have said in and of itself that he was qualified enough to be able to do this. But, you know, I hadn't actually seen him perform live yet until this event. And I saw, and I even said that partway through, that he is one of the best axemen I've seen in a long time. And that really played a huge role in this battle against another fantastic man with the axe, and Jason Lenz. You know he's good. He's always anchoring the team competition on the standing block chop, or he steps in for the underhand chop because he's so solid. But you know what? It was just Jack Jordan's day. He was a step ahead as he got to the single buck here. He had a little bit of a stick up right there.
There it is, yeah.
Yeah, and but then once he got that thing flowing, he was doing okay. But look at the intensity on Jason Lenz's face, and he was in it.
He's no slouch. He's not going to give it up for free,
Not
is
at all.
he?
And he came very close to catching up on that single buck. It was just about a 1/2 or maybe full stroke to get to Jack Jordan on the standing block chop.
And the standing block chop was the decider there, wasn't it?
It was really the decider, and I mean, Jason was just giving it everything, but he had a little bit too much power, and he got that axe very, very heavily stuck. And then Jack Jordan, he had a couple of small drivers. I mean, you can't call them drivers, but it's just a couple of small hits to knock the top of that block off, and it was an absolutely fantastic result for Jack Jordan. Great job. A big congratulations, of course, to Jason Lenz. He's performed top-notch all day long today.
You know what I loved while we were watching those slow-mos is those huge swings that he was taking, but then the last couple actually were quite...
Tap, tap,
It
tap.
was like, I don't want to get too far away from the block.
Yeah.
I just want to get it over the line.
Yeah, because
you know?
he knew it was barely holding on, and he just needed a couple of small hits to get the top off and win that one. And he probably saw across the stage that Jason had taken a huge driver and got his axe caught in there, and he was struggling to get it out. I mean, he's such a powerful man that he just put a little bit too much in there and got it stuck.
Let's check out the split screen from the final to compare the techniques here. Here we go. So, of course, we've got the now famous
you can
Jordan on the left in black.
Two different styles for the stock
Very
saw.
close after the first discipline.
And it was actually Lenz that actually got over to the underhand chop first, about I'm going to say about a half stroke ahead of Jordan as they got onto the underhand chop, and then they both moved over to the other side pretty much even Steven. Let's see how we got the split. There it is with Jordan getting it through. 1, 2, 2 hits ahead of Jordan was 2 hits ahead of Lenz as they moved to the single buck. Now, watch Lenz here. Just putting everything he's got into it. Jack Jordan's getting down to the bottom. Lenz was really close. A half stroke on that single buck, and here is where Jack Jordan knew he was in a bit of trouble if he didn't really get working on that standing block chop, but he moved over to the other side very quickly, very well, and then he saw that he was doing a good job and had that thing wiggling and waggling at the top, and it was only just a couple of drivers at the very end to get the thing loose, and then here, tap, 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 and it's gone.
Tap, 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 and you are World Trophy winner 2022. Yes. Beautiful stuff.
And you could see those last couple of drivers for Lenz. He got that axe caught in there, pulled it back out, and then he had to do a couple of more hits to get it off.
Here is the final confirmation. De Rosa in third place, Lenz in second place, but the winner of the STIHL Timbersports World Trophy 2022 is Jack Jordan. And I can see when I look over my shoulder that the top 3 athletes are on the stage in front of the podium. We will go live straight to the arena now to Florty for the winners ceremony.
Und sobald die Welt bereit ist, starten wir hochoffiziell die Siegerehrung und ich glaube, das sollte in wenigen Sekunden der Fall sein.
It's over to you, Florty. We are ready. We're ready and waiting for the top three. Over to you, my friend.
It is time for the top three. It is time for the official winners ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you ready for our top three here at the STIHL Timbersports World Trophy 2022? Then give it up for the bronze medalists from Australia, Die Medaillen werden übergeben von Alexander Hembach, STIHL Österreich Geschäftsführer, STIHL Austria General Manager Alexander Hembach, giving the medal to the bronze medalists. As we proceed to the silver medalists, make some noise from the man from the United States of America, silver medalist Jason Lentz. Absolutely fantastic performance and well-deserved silver medalists. And now it is time for the gold medal. Winner of the STIHL Timbersports World Trophy 2022 from New Zealand, Mr. Jack Jordan!
With a leap onto the podium, hands in the air. He loved every bit of that, didn't he?
That was an emotional win. That was an emotional win, for sure.
Was für eine unglaubliche Leistung hier am Rathausplatz. Und natürlich sind es nicht nur Medaillen, die es hier bei der World Trophy gibt, sondern auch eine Trophäe und vor allem den STIHL Timbersports World Trophy Ring. Und der wird jetzt übergeben von Norbert Pick, STIHL Vorstand Marketing und Vertrieb, STIHL Executive Board Member for Marketing and Sales. Norbert Pick is about to deliver the STIHL Timbersports World Trophy Ring.
It's a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit.
It's almost like they saw it coming. That is an amazing trophy, though. What a great souvenir to take back from Vienna for all that work.
Oh, I hope he's going to get that through customs. I'm telling you, that puppy's going to set off the metal detector, isn't it? Jack Jordan, the winner of the World Trophy 2022. And here we go. This is the moment all three of them are waiting.
Yeah, exactly. One of the best parts of the award ceremony is the champagne shower, always.
That is the only way to celebrate. There we go, the top three performers here at the STIHL Timbersports World Trophy 2022. Wow, when you look back at the times just got faster and faster as the day went on, despite the tiredness levels going up and up, right? I mean, incredible sportsmanship.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And of course, you can't not mention the fact that both Jack Jordan and Jason Lenz ended up with sub 1 minute times here today. So that's very, very good.
Very, very good is the understatement. As our dear friend and colleague Marcus Flort signs off there in the arena, what we're going to try and do, Troy, is hopefully get the winner, Jack, into the studio here for a quick interview. And before we do, some highlights from the whole weekend for you. We've been here now in Vienna for a few days. I mean, I felt at home since the first moment I was here. Certainly, they've treated us really kindly. The crowds have been amazing. You know, the sports, the level of sportspersonship has been fantastic. It's just been a great weekend all round, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. There's been a couple of surprises during the event. There's been some fantastic performances. And I mean, you know, things that stick out for me is Martha King with her performance in the women's competition the other day. Just an absolutely fantastic performance. And all of the women that were competing there, I mean, you know, Albel had an injured hand, but she was still out there competing right to the very last second. Yeah. You know, so that's something that sticks out in my mind for sure. And of course, with the Rookie World Championship and a world record falling for Jack Argent in the springboard, that's a new discipline for the rookies, and that says a lot about the skill level and what's coming in the future for the pro levels. And Jack Argent actually being able to participate in the event today, although he didn't make it into the next round.
Wonderful experience for him, right?
Absolutely right. You know, the experience was the thing that made a huge difference there for him, and he's going to take that to the bank and come back stronger than ever in the future. And we're seeing a whole crop of young Austrians that we saw today in the Austrian Championship for the rookies.
Quite a movement, isn't it? They got a lot of talent in Austria.
Yeah, they've got a lot of talent coming through there. There's a few guys that are going to be stepping away from the rookie category for next season and joining the pros, and there's going to be a few new guys that are coming in. So the development of timber sports is definitely working, and you know, it's an absolutely fantastic thing that's happening here.
And it's not even the last tournament today, because we're going to be here tomorrow as well in front of the Rathaus for the fourth and final competition of the weekend, and that's going to be the Austrian Pro Championship. So
Correct,
I mean, we're going to see even more talent there. Here we go. The winner, Jack Jordan, has just come in to the studio with an incredibly large trophy. Bring that in, put that on there. That looks terrific. Is the cameraman happy with the position of that? I'm worried that the bar can't even hold that. That is seriously heavy. Here we go. He gets his headset as well. Let's move that over there. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
World Trophy 2022 winner. How does that sound?
Yeah, unreal. Myself, 2 years ago, I never thought anything like this could happen to me, you know. I was never much of a single sawyer. I got quite a bit of help back home with that from various people. Yeah, so to come out here and get a win in front of the rest of the world's bloody unreal.
Absolutely right. I've got to say, you're looking pretty damp there. You smell like New Year's Eve. There's a little bit of champagne on you. Is that possible?
Yeah, they got onto me out there. They got stuck right in, but that's all part of it, isn't it?
You are absolutely welcome to it. You know what? We've got the clip of your final win here. Maybe you could talk us through it. Here we go. So what's going through your mind at this stage?
Oh, I was pretty tired at that stage. Just hoping to get off quick. I actually bogged sort of halfway down there. I thought I was going to be cutting a pretty thin cookie, so I tried to steer it out of the way. Yeah, come over.
Are you taking a glimpse out of the corner of your eye at your competitor across the stage?
Nah, you can't worry about him. Otherwise, sort of leads to mistakes, and you know you got to focus on your own block and your own job. Didn't come off real clean here, but that's what it is.
Oh, and he got stuck there, didn't you?
Yeah, it was pretty hard, that race. Well, all of them were pretty tough, but race like that, yeah.
And then you're moving in. What are your final thoughts here as you go to the final discipline?
I was actually thinking during it, yeah, breathe. But I was in a fair bit of pain, and you know, I was in a fair bit of pain, so I just kept telling myself, get something out of the pain, get something out of the pain, and I guess that's what got me through there. But when I come round, open the back with 1-on-1, I actually hit the screws in the top of the log, so I broke my axe in the back. That's probably I took a few hits, so I was
Who
pretty lucky to get
cares?
the
You're the
win
World
there.
Trophy winner 2022. I'm sure you got a couple of bucks in the pocket to buy yourself a new axe, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That'll be the reward maybe for it. Show us your ring. Give us a look at that. How does that? That's a beauty, isn't it?
It's probably stuck on there now.
That's not coming off, is it? That is an absolute biggie. Listen, Jack, what's next for you? You're now World Trophy champion. You've come over to Europe for this tournament. What's going to happen in the next weeks and months?
Next weeks and months, like it's the off season for wood chopping over home at the moment. We have got I was going to go to Brisbane show in August, cut at the Eka show, and I was hoping to go to the teams event later in the year and cut for the New Zealand team there, and then ultimately lead to Sydney next year. So yeah, I'll have a good crack at wood chopping over the next 12 months and see how we go.
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I'm delighted for you. One final time, Jack Jordan, winner of the World Trophy 2022. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much, mate.
There he is. Brilliant. Take your absolutely massive trophy with you, my friend. Congratulations. Congratulations indeed. You know what? I'm going to put that back on the bar because that's too heavy for a young chap like me. We see the super slow motion of the winner there, Jack, getting absolutely drenched with champagne. I can confirm for anyone who doesn't have smell-o-vision that he absolutely reeked of champagne. Yeah. But what a performance and what a great guy. I mean, he's just a happy-go-lucky chap who you couldn't take the smile off his face, could you?
No, not at all. And I mean, he deserved this win today. There's no two ways about it. He performed stellar on stage when the time counted, and he and Jason Lenz both went under the minute mark here. So that says that they're both capable of really going to the next level and perhaps breaking a world record, which, by the way, is 54.68, so they weren't that far away.
We have had an absolute ball here in Vienna at the World Trophy. My enormous thanks to my co-coms. Troy, thank you. We'll do this again, I hope. Thank you so much to Flutie for whipping up scenes on the stage here in Austria. Thank you to all of the team at STIHL Timbersports for putting together an absolutely amazing package. And of course, congratulations to the World Trophy champion 2022, Jack Jordan. We hopefully will see you in future streams and maybe even in Gothenburg for the World Championships. But for one final time, from all of us here in Vienna, take care of yourselves. All the very best, and bye-bye.
It's rock and roll. Take care, everyone. Ciao.
All right, I'll do in, you do out.
This is going to be a long process here.
Be professional. Welcome to Vienna, Austria, where we are going to see the World Trophy 2022.
Bad action coming at you, at you, at you. Okay, one more time.
I thought we had it.
I was going to say badass action. I thought, no, I can't say badass, can I?
All right, here we go. What you doing? We are here in Vienna, Austria, and these are... No, that's bad.
No, they are not.
That's bad grammar, because it's definitely not plural.
These are the days of your life.
Let's do it again.
Maybe I should do the intro.
Shut up, man. Just give me a fucking second. All right.
Let me just check this really quickly. Cup check.
Welcome to Vienna, Austria. We are here for the World Trophy 2022, and this is what it looks like.
Check it out. What an amazing day here at the World Trophy 2022 in Vienna, Austria. Fantastic event, great action. It's been really awesome.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Ciao.
Hey.